Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff, come on, man. Come on. You're better than this.
What?
You're better than this.
Better than what?
Why are you homing on Cade?
My God.
You gotta, when you sit up here,
it's facts.
You got to look in the camera like I'm looking at right
now.
I'll
look right in the camera.
You gotta be
ESPN Mike Schmitz called him the best player in the draft.
Exactly what you're thinking, and not think out of your ass when you're talking about your home teams. You can't. You got to separate the homer and the Kool-Aid. But we'll move past it.
Don't let him do you like that.
In this next topic.
Let him talk.
Will the Detroit Lions, offense or defense, be the strength this upcoming season? I'm going to start with you, Jeff. Do you think their offense or the defense will be their focal point, their go-to strength this season? What is it going to be?
I think this is a no-brainer. If you're a true Lions fan, it's the offense. We don't know anything about this defense besides they gave up the most points in football last year. What do you look? Adam has this weird smug
look. You are so wrong. It's like unreal. But
you're delusional. You're delusional. We took a.
I'm going to let you continue. I'm just going to let you continue. I'm not going to interrupt you. I'm not going to say anything negative. I'm going to let you make your points.
Thank God.
I'm going to give you compliments on the points you make, and I'm going to destroy you on the points I think that are absolute garbage. But here we go. Go ahead.
So I'll start here. We don't know much about the defense besides they gave up the most points in football last year, and they're still a mostly young defense. I mean, even the guys we drafted, I don't think. Lee McNeil has a chance to start, but a lot of these guys aren't going to come and have immediate impact. But if you look at the offensive side of the ball, drafting a supreme talent in Penei Sewell, having Amon-Ra St. Brown, which he is a rookie, but the highlights he's had in camp, I don't know if they'll translate, but he's promising. I mean, obviously our wide receiver core can be a strength, but I believe in Anthony Lynn. I believe in what he's about. And I think this offensive line has a chance to be top 10 in the league. We have one of the best tight ends, top 4 or 5 tight end in the league. And
okay, those were the first 2 good points you made. The top 10 offensive line.
So look at it like this. Look at it like this. Okay, Jared Goff. I'm not saying he's all that, but I have more confidence in him on the offense than just saying the defense is our strength. Like. I want to hear your. I want to hear your reasoning. I want to hear your reasoning.
Again, I don't like being the guy, but you are completely wrong.
Okay, then let me explain to me why our defense.
The offense downgraded at quarterback.
Okay,
has the worst, if not the second worst, receiving core in the NFL. Yes, they have a top 10 offensive line, but you know how you use that offensive line? By getting ahead and running the football. Are the Lions even capable of scoring? We don't even know that. Jared Goff is throwing to Art Smith, Kennedy Broadwell, and Sam Fisher this season. And Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not going to put too much disrespect on him. That's who he's throwing to this season. You expect the offense to be that much. I think because the defense was so god-awful, I think the roles are going to be reversed. I think the offense is going to be very traumatic and tumultuous this entire season. They're not going to be good. They're not going to be good. They're going to turn the ball over a lot. They're going to put the defense in bad positions. I do think they'll control the clock to an extent.
You haven't talked about the defense.
Here I go.
Because you're rambling about
Jeff Okudah will be a top 12 cornerback in the NFL this season. He will be. The secondary will improve. Why? Because there was an overweight pencil head who used to work in Detroit that absolutely had no idea what he was doing, and neither did the defense. They deservedly were the worst defense probably ever last season. Having said that, the Lions drafted 2 defensive linemen in the second round. They've drafted 2. They've addressed the offensive line, second round, third round, back to back. They went D-line. They've signed a few free agents. Tavai, here you go, Kennedy. You're going to love this one. Tavai, when under Matt Patricia, was 50 pounds too heavy because he was probably chugging Snickers too. But now you got Dan Campbell coming in. Physique, looks good, professional, nice polo, Ventis. Give me the Ventis. Everything's looking good. But
then you say 3 wins.
He lost over 40 pounds this offseason. He looks faster. His footwork is better. He can probably go end-to-end on the sidelines to cover when he's tackling. Like, I actually think the defense is going to have more of an improvement than the offense. I don't think the offense improves from last season. You can go stat across the board. Outside of maybe rushing yards, this team is going to be down in every category except rushing yards and turnovers. Goff's going to throw interceptions. They're going to run the ball very well, but they're not going to throw for a ton of yards. If Goff throws for more than 3,800 yards, I would be impressed. It's not going to happen. They're going to be down all the time. They're going to be forced into making turnovers. It's not going to be a good look. The defense will be actually their strength this season. If you want to go the one core that's their strength, it's obviously the offensive line. We can all agree on that. But overall, the defense will be better, and the defense will be their strength.
Did you just
this year.
say to me the strength of the team is the offensive line, but the defense will be better?
The defense will be better. It'll be better than the offense. The offensive line can't throw and get open.
But they give Jared Goff more time.
They're giving Jared Goff 6 seconds in training camp, and he can't even complete a goddamn pass. Don't give me that shit.
You're gonna look me in the face, or the camera's face, because we're not looking at each other, and tell me that Aaron Glenn, as a first-time defensive coordinator, is going to take these boys into a top 10 secondary. I don't doubt it.
They were a top 10 secondary. I said there'll be much. When you're 32nd across the board in everything that the defense are, considering last season, they're going to be in the 24th, 23rd, 22nd. They're going to make more of a jump than the offense is. The offense isn't going to go from 15th to 5th. The defense is going to go from 32nd to 20th, maybe even 21st, 22nd. They're not going to go. The offense isn't going anywhere but down.
Down?
Yes, down.
God, we were already bottom of the league.
Wide receiving
we were 29th in the league,
man.
We were 29th in the league in rushing last year. You think that's going to stay the same?
That's the only. I said it already.
Okay.
The offensive line and the rush game are going to be the only things that go up.
And you don't think if we run the ball first,
the passing game isn't going to be improved? I'm not saying it's going to be improved. You had Matthew Stafford all of last season with Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, T.J. Hawkinson, and sort of a rush game with DeAndre Swift, and you still couldn't be.
We don't have to discuss
completely. You put up a donut against the Panthers. I don't want to hear it. The defense will be much, much better than the offense will be this year, and that's why I think they'll be
We're getting a little off topic because we're talking about the. Listen, Matt Stafford put up great yards. I'm not talking about passing yards this year. I'm talking about overall productivity. Anthony Lynn, I trust.
Line up Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Productivity, not even close. You want to line up the offensive line. Great. They're going to finish top 6 probably this year in PFF rankings for the offensive line. You look at the rush game. We don't even know if DeAndre Swift is going to be available for half the season right now with his goddamn groin injury, so I don't want to hear that. Jamal Williams, he'll probably run the ball. You know you can't run the ball when you're down 14, 21 points. You understand? And the Lions, because of their inability to move the ball downfield, are going to pin their defense in bad situations. But I still think the defense is going to be better than the offense. It's not even a question. Kennedy, help me here. Offense or defense, what are you going with this season?
I honestly, this is hard. This is a really hard situation to be in. One, because I want to agree with Jeff.
Somebody woke up and chose logic.
No. I think they're going to be like equally mediocre. Is that fair to say?
True.
Things on the offensive side have gone down. Some have gone up. The O-line is going to be great. Tight ends.
Tight ends are.
Yes.
But how is he going to?
No,
when he's double coverage.
This is what makes me nervous. The picks, I think that we're going to see a lot of picks. And I hate that a lot. And then I think that the defense was so bad.
They're going to improve just based off the fact of how bad they were. Not a little. A lot. You can't be that bad back-to-back years. I would be so surprised.
Well, no, I don't think they're going to be that bad. I mean, we were like bottom of the barrel shit.
The Lions, you know the saying, started at the bottom? Now we're here? Now we're here, right? We're here?
Yeah, we're
The Lions have a saying, started at the bottom, still here.
No, that's how we're not arguing. I think Kenny makes a good point with they're both equally
mediocre.
Not very great.
I agree but which one will be better
as a unit?
Which one will be as a unit? Which one will be better over the course of the season, based off of last season? The defense is going to make more strides than the offense. You're going to look at the defense and be like, "Wow, that is awesome, great." Cool. We're actually putting pressure on the quarterback this year. We're actually doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to look at the offense and be like, we had Matthew Stafford and Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay, and DeAndre Swift last season. What do we do?
Honestly, if I knew...
You downgraded almost every position on the offensive side of the ball, except tight end, line, and running back.
Yeah, and those are all very important positions.
No, wide receiver and quarterback are very freaking important. You can't move the ball downfield. If one, your wide receivers aren't open, and two, even if they are open, your quarterback's throwing it to the other team, not the wide receivers.
The wide receiver thing is my biggest nervousness of the Lions right now, and also Jared Goff. But I just don't know how much we can turn around this defense in this short amount of time.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just want to ask you. So you're saying they're gonna, because people make a great point. Like I just heard. I just read some of these comments.
I don't care what people say.
No, but listen. Listen. It's similar to what I want to say because last year I forgot about this. Galladay was out most of the year last year, so the receiving core was pretty darn trash. So we were bottom of the league. I know, but
which means you couldn't double coverage
but
T.J. Hawkinson.
you're underrating the offensive line. I think you're underestimating.
I'm not. I just told you they're going to finish top 6 in the offense.
What is an offense? If you have a good offensive line, what does that do for your team? Explain.
That's the Cowboys. It does nothing.
No,
they
okay.
waste it.
We're talking about the Cowboys.
That's the Cowboys.
Which their offensive line's injured every other game.
If you don't know how to use it, if you don't have wide receivers, if you don't have a passing game, if you don't have a running game that can actually support your passing game, which ultimately this is a passing league. It's a passing
What
league.
has changed with the Lions defense? Tell me. Since last year.
They've improved their D-line. They've addressed it in the offseason.
With who?
What do you mean? They
Rookies,
drafted,
right?
Yes,
okay, go on.
They've addressed it. Let me continue.
Okay,
They've addressed
rookies.
their defensive line. They've addressed their secondary. They've kind of improved that linebacking core, even though I still think it's skeptical. But again, we're addressing
still horrible.
How horrible were they last season? Can we agree they were god awful? Then they're going to improve. Much more this season. They're not going to give up 34, 35 points a game this year. They're probably going to give up 24, 25, 26 points. And it's going to be a huge improvement. They're going to be in the top 24, top 23 in defense. And the offense is going to fall from 15th, 16th, wherever they were last season. And they're going to fall to 20th, 21st, 22nd. The defense is trending up. The offense is trending downwards. How more clear can I be? I don't care that we have an amazing offensive line.
It's not just
the offensive line isn't going to get Jared Goff to throw a pass downfield and a wide receiver to get open.
You don't think it's going to give him definitely more time? But if our run game is successful, what does that do for the quarterback?
Detroit Lion beat writers across the board, including our very own Corey Woods, Jared Goff notes has so much time in the pocket this training camp, so much time. Receivers can't get separation. Goff can't make the throws. Too many interceptions, pick sixes. They've already seen a ton of them. I don't want to hear it. Stop making excuses for this.
Can I say this one last thing?
All right, you can finish it before I close.
I think the main point you made was the passing and downgrading a quarterback. But all successful teams, especially in this league, can run the damn ball, and that opens up so much more. So that is my main premise, man. I mean, we can get this straight. We can agree to disagree in this sense. Both sides of the ball going to be better. It just depends. It's a wishy-washy argument because who you're taking? You're taking a defense who's bottom of the league last year, or an offense who bottom of the league, but we got Jared Goff now. But I just think the offensive line, adding Penei Sewell, not only that, but drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown, which has a chance to impact year one. T.J. Hawkinson getting better every single year. In this backfield we have, and Anthony Lynn behind there controlling these guys. I don't know, man. We can agree to disagree, but it's an interesting argument.
I'm not agreeing to disagree. I just completely disagree, and I think you guys are missing the point. But whatever.
I said they're going to be equally mediocre.
You didn't take a stand. I'm very disappointed.
Oh,
Pick
my
one.
God.
Pick
Give
one.
me no.
Don't be a homer. Don't be like Art.
Oh,
we have enough
Art's
of this.
Not a homer.
We have enough of that working here. We don't need more of that.
Art would say they're both going to be great. I said mediocre.
Step your game up, Broadwell. Step it up.
Good morning, you guys. This first topic, super spicy. It's been a super talked about topic. We've done it a few times on this network already, but preseason's starting up. So who do you guys think is under more pressure, Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford?
Ooh, Jeff, you want to go first?
Yes, I'll make my point first, Adam. I have Matthew Stafford's under more pressure this year. Obviously. The amount of the Rams gave up for him is key. 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and their former number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff. Not only that, but he's joining forces with the best defense he's ever had. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, you can even add the best coach he's ever had schematically, and better weapons. I don't know the best weapons he's ever had, but pretty good weapons. Pretty good weapons. And the only reason why I wouldn't say Jared is because nobody really expects much from the Detroit Lions number 1, and most of the media is already down on Jared considering the year he had prior. But in terms of pressure, Stafford blows him out the water. And you're wrong if you choose the other guy.
All right, well, let me convince you why it's actually Jared Goff. All right?
You could try.
And please try to follow along here.
Yeah, okay.
Jared Goff in the last 2 seasons has thrown 29 interceptions. Okay, turnover machine. His QBR in the last 2 seasons, 54.4. His former team were willing to give up 2 first-round picks and him to get him out the door. Jared Goff, unlike Matthew Stafford, is in a situation where he actually has to prove himself if he wants to remain here. Why? Well, the Detroit Lions, probably going to be a bottom 5 team this year in the NFL, which means they're going to be in a position to draft a quarterback. So if Jared Goff doesn't show up, commits less turnovers, plays good football, I'll tell you what, buddy, he's out the door. because the Detroit Lions have 2 first-round picks in the next 2 NFL drafts. And you couldn't convince me otherwise that if Jared Goff goes out and stinks the bed like he did the last 2 seasons, that he's not out the door. He's gone. It's not even a question. He is a bridge quarterback. He's thrown less touchdowns year to year over the last 3 seasons. He's thrown less yards per game year to year over the last 3 seasons. He has six fourth quarter comebacks in his entire career. Let's all keep in mind, Detroit Lions fans, you're accustomed to fourth quarter comebacks because the team doesn't show up till the fourth quarter anyways. Why bother with the first 3? So the guy you have in place right now can't even get it done when you're going to be behind all season in the fourth quarter. But this isn't just about Jared Goff. This is about the Lions' decisions. What did they do? What messages did the Lions send to us this offseason? Well, they drafted Penei Sewell. He fell. I think everybody agrees that was a very good pick. But, you know, if they really wanted Jared to be the guy, don't you think they would have addressed, I don't know, maybe tried to get an Elijah Moore, a wide receiver, something to help him, whether it was in free agency or the draft. But no. In the draft, they went back-to-back defensive linemen after taking Penei Sewell.
I think you're missing a big point here.
Go ahead.
Matthew Stafford has never won a playoff game, and he's in Los Angeles where they're expecting, to my surprise, a Super Bowl and/or he's in talks to win MVP.
Can we both agree that during Matthew Stafford's times here in Detroit, he was very inconsistent. He was either very good or very bad. You never got a consistent Matthew Stafford from a turnover to production standpoint outside of garbage yards in the fourth quarter. But although he's under pressure to deliver with the Rams the next 2 seasons, it's a different kind of pressure. It's a pressure that the Detroit Lions have no idea. They have no grasp of what kind of pressure that is. You know why? Because there's never an expectation. There's never a standard to win. So Matthew Stafford is walking in easily to the best situation of his career. And I promise you, Kirk Cousins could probably walk into LA and deliver damn near what Stafford's going to deliver. This isn't just about Stafford. Stafford's walking into such a good situation that it doesn't feel like pressure. They lose Cam Akers, I'm not even worried. Like, Jared Goff might be a backup quarterback or out of the league in 2 seasons if he doesn't perform. If Stafford just does what Stafford typically does, put up good numbers, Rams win a playoff for a game or 2, and then they get bounced, Sean McVay's going to be looked at like, hey, you gave up 2 first-round picks, you gave up our future, a compensatory pick, you gave up so much for this guy, he didn't deliver, you didn't deliver, it's on you, Sean. It's not on Matthew Stafford. If they don't succeed in LA, it's Sean McVay who gets kicked out at the end of the day.
You have to consider,
and that is there's no other way to see it. Jared Goff is playing for his future. So when he goes out this year, like we should all expect, and doesn't perform like an all-pro quarterback, don't be shocked when the Lions look into taking a quarterback in this upcoming draft or the one following.
If you look at it straight up, okay, let's just take Matthew Stafford, a guy who we mentioned earlier has never won a playoff game, comes from a quote unquote a bad situation. According to a lot of people, the Detroit Lions franchise is a laughingstock in terms of coaching, in terms of personnel. We had Calvin Johnson and a pretty good defense back in 2014, but besides that, a laughingstock. And now he's going to LA. And I get it. The GM and of course Sean McVay, they talk about these trades, but you cannot deny that Matthew's going to a way better situation. Now, I understand that it's a great situation, but the pressure's still there. He needs to produce, win
What's
games.
more difficult to pull off? Winning with a very good football team. And here, let me rephrase it. You look at a football team, you really like them, you think that they're NFC contenders. You upgrade them at quarterback. They haven't downgraded in the offseason anywhere. They upgrade at the most important position in football. Wouldn't you expect them to accomplish more? And then you look at Jared Goff, downgraded wide receiver in the organization, unsure what we're going to do with DeAndre Swift. The guy can't stop getting hurt. We'll see if he's even going to play a single snap in the preseason. The defense will improve this year, but it's not going to be all pro. The offense the offense will regress compared to last season, this season. So Jared Goff is the one under pressure. He has been put in a situation that the writing on the wall is so clear. I wish people could just see it. That he is a bridge quarterback, because if they were invested in Jared, they would have considered paying Galladay. They would have considered making a move before the trade deadline last year of, hey, you know what, let's get rid of Galladay now. Let's get some assets. We can use them in the offseason. We know what we're doing going forward. Like, there could have been so many other things that could have happened if they wanted to show that Jared Goff was the guy. You don't throw Jared Goff out there with Tyrell Williams, Brashad Perriman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who we all think is nice, but he's a rookie. He's a rookie. He's not coming out and getting 1,500 yards for you this season. So you don't have a wide receiver 1. You don't have a wide receiver 2. Your best player is going to be double coverage every single time you go out for a pass route. Every single time. So good luck, Jared. Jared is the one under most pressure, because if he doesn't perform this season, at the end of the day, it's going to be on him. And the organization, again, put him in a position where he's not going to succeed. You know why? Because, Jeff, they're trying to tell you, we don't want you. We know what we're doing. We got 4 first-round picks over the next 2 seasons. We just really addressed our defensive line, and we think they're going to turn out really good. Amon-Ra St. Brown could be a really, really good wide receiver for us. And we think we're going to be contenders in 2 seasons. And you know what? In 2 seasons, we can get rid of you basically for nothing.
But this is my problem. Jared Goff already has a built-in excuse. You just mentioned the wide receiver core. Ranked, bottom of the league in Pro Football Focus. Like, does that not alleviate pressure? Because that is a built-in excuse for any quarterback. Oh, I have the worst wide receiver core in the league.
I mean...
and they can't get open. They can't get separation. Matt Stafford has weapons and a defense. And a great head coach for, schematically. There's no reason why he should produce.
You know what? I'm going to agree with the last point you said. Matthew Stafford does have a great coach. He does have great players around him. Something Jared Goff also had over the last 6 years, which he clearly didn't capitalize on. So Jared Goff is the one under pressure. He's the one.
But he's at least one playoff game.
Here. So. I don't think you're understanding this in football terms, so I'm going to try to break it down in another way. All right? Let's say we're both married men, and I can't stand my wife. And I am willing to not only give you my wife, I'm willing to give you my wife, my bank account. What is going on here? My house, my cars, my suits, everything. Just for me to get rid of my wife. And I'm so desperate to get rid of her, I'm even willing to take yours. How badly I don't want her. And you're still telling me that she's not the one under pressure, or I'm not the one under pressure for making... No. Jared Goff is totally under pressure. It's not even close.
So you're going to tell me you're giving up half your bank account.
That's what the Rams did.
And you're trading your wife, and I'm under more pressure. After you just gave up all that for a new...
The wife is under pressure to perform for you. You're not under pressure. The Lions organization is not under pressure. Jared Goff is under pressure. So when I give you everything I gave you, you have the luxury cars, you have the luxury, the house, you have the suits, you have everything, you have the bank account, but you still got to deal with my annoying ass wife at the end of the day. And you got to address whether or not you want to be with her, and you're stuck with her for 2 seasons. So you got to make that decision.
Adam.
The wife I just gave you is under more pressure. It's not even a debate.
We couldn't have thought of a better analogy
than
a wife.
It's a horrible analogy.
There's not a better analogy for it. Not a better analogy for it. It's not even a debate.
Adam sat here yesterday, looked this camera right in the eye, and said, honestly, the Lions are going to be bad this year, horribly bad. And he's okay with saying that.
Yeah, we're not talking about team performance. We're talking about individual performance.
Okay, but team performance has to do with... If Jared Goff, if we're already expecting the Lions, they're in rebuild mode, not going to perform very well this year. Why would Jared Goff be under more pressure than a Stafford?
Jared Goff should be under pressure to control the way we play. He should limit turnovers.
That's it.
That would be ideal. If he throws under 10 interceptions, that is considered a very good season for Jared Goff. 10 or under. That'd be very, very good. I'd be very happy with that. If he could throw for 36, 37, 3,800 yards, 20, 22 touchdowns, that would be ideal given the circumstances. But he's not going to do that. He's going to turn over the ball. He's not going to throw that many touchdown passes. So, no, he's going to be under more pressure if he goes out this season and doesn't perform. Matthew Stafford, given his situation, injuries aside, if nothing crazy happens, the Rams are going to perform, and they're in an even more difficult division. I broke it down like super simple. If I gave you my wife, I gave you everything I own.
But there's much more into it.
That's how desperate I was to get rid of her. And then she's the one under pressure because I showed you how much I'm willing to give up to get rid of her. No. She's
what
under
if
more
one of
pressure.
the wives was injury prone? And a Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford is not injury prone. That is a false narrative.
No.
Matthew Stafford was one of the most durable quarterbacks over the last 14 seasons.
But he's injured, but still played. He plays
hurt. Brett Favre played hurt. Tom Brady played last year without an MCL.
His thumb was still bothering him last year.
Oh,
and it's still this year.
But listen,
playing with injuries, situational. Jared Goff is going to a great situation. He's chilling. He just needs to have a good season statistically. He's not worried about no day.
He's under pressure. He doesn't have all the tools around him, ideally, that you'd want.
Yes.
But what's going to happen is the Lions told you what their plans are, and that's why he is under more pressure. He needs to outperform their expectations because they have 4 first-round picks over the next 2 seasons, and they're going to get rid of his ass if he comes out and throws 14, 15 interceptions year 1. It's that simple. But we got to take a break.
Welcome back, you guys. So we've already discussed Penei Sewell ended up in the bottom 5 from this past weekend against the Steelers, according to the PFF rankings. That being said, will the Lions regret drafting him? Jeff, let's start with you.
Will is important. I think it's going to take time to really evaluate Sewell because, well, like I said earlier, I sound like a broken record, but he hasn't played football since his sophomore year in college. He took junior year off because of COVID. He switched to right tackle. He's playing against grown men. It's a whole new league. It's going to take some time to get his legs under him, but getting beat by Gregory Rousseau in his debut isn't a good thing. Obviously, Greg is a he's a rookie as well, but you got to build on those things and hopefully stack good weeks on top of each other. I mean, I don't expect this guy to come out and play well like Adam said earlier. Jonathan Ogden's one of the only guys to come in and move grown men. I don't want people to put too much expectations on him, but people do say he could be a next Hall of Fame left tackle. His athleticism and his upside, and I get all that, but we got to start seeing results, and I want to start seeing good performances on top of good performances, and the last 2 weeks haven't been that good. He's had great plays, but he's also had lowlights. So to say they made the wrong pick is an idiotic thing to really say right now. It's going to take this whole season to evaluate with this offensive line gaining chemistry and playing together. So right now, if you're asking me, no, they didn't make the wrong pick. So that's how I feel.
I think he's a victim of his own ability. I think he's a victim of his own ability, and I'll tell you why. First, let's see who was taken before him. So who was taken that, what teams really passed on Sewell? There was only 2 teams.
Yeah.
The Dolphins at 6 and the Bengals at 5. Both needed to address the offensive line, but they also knew they needed to get their franchise quarterback weapon. So what happened? Jamar Chase goes to Cincy. Jalen Waddle goes to Dolphins. The rest is history. Lions take Penei Sewell. But who could have the Lions taken if they didn't get Sewell? Well, you're probably looking at who? Patrick Surtain, Micah Parsons. But you don't know if Micah Parsons is even going to be better than Derek Barnes, and Barnes you got in the 4th round. Like, you can find similar talent later on in the NFL draft. You get your Pro Bowlers round 1. You win Super Bowls round 3, 4, 5. So that's how you build your team. So I'm not going to jump on the train and say they're going to regret it, but it hasn't been pretty. But I think you pointed out perfectly, Jeff, the reasons why. A lot of his mistakes are actually mental, and yes. I'm actually happy with that. I'm glad he's not slow off the line. I'm glad he's not weak or he's going through a learning curve. It's preseason. I can slate the team as much as I want. I'm not going to slate the kid. Preseason. He needs 10, 14 games before I can actually tell you, wow, we have something, or man, I can't believe we wasted another first-round pick. Give me a year and a half. I can tell you that easily. But I'm not going to tell you right now.
There's a difference between calling Tavai slow or whatever it is, fat, or whatever you say. But with Sewell, it's none of that. He has athleticism. He has footwork. He has, his football IQ.
Intangibles.
Tangibles.
That's
right.
the perfect word.
Tangibles. It's just the other stuff. Getting his legs under him. Just get used to playing in the NFL. I mean, that's all it is.
Look, not everybody can just get thrown into the NFL and succeed. Patrick Mahomes was sat year 1, even though in Kansas City, the local media said, my God, this guy is beyond Alex Smith. And the Chiefs brought out Alex Smith to the playoffs. They got knocked out, and they moved on year 2. Why? They gave him time to learn Andy Reid's offense, even though he was so much better year one.
But he was throwing interceptions in camp. There was those reports.
It didn't matter.
I know, but
it didn't matter because you look at the upside, right?
Right.
But again, you look at the development, though. They let him make the mistakes where? In practice, not on the field.
Right.
Because in practice, it's a learning curve. On the field, it's a mistake, and it affects your team's win-loss record. There's a big difference. So you look at those situations. No, I'm not saying you have to sit Penei Sewell for the year. God, no.
No.
He's somebody with that offensive line. It's a pretty good offensive line. We all agree probably top 10. All right, good. Go out there. Make an impact. Like, he's going to learn. He's going to be okay. It's a new position for him. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to regret taking Penei Sewell at 7, but this is all situational. You guys can sit up here and tell me they should have taken Mac Jones, they should have taken Justin Fields, Patrick Surtain. Well, you know what? They took Okudah the year prior, so there's no chance Brad Holmes year 1 is taking a corner at number 7. It's just not. Unless he traded back, then he probably would have taken one, but he didn't. He's not taking a quarterback. He just got 2 first-round picks and Jared Goff. He can't get rid of Goff for the next 2 years. So he knows he has 2 years to decide which quarterback he wants to move forward with, whether he wants to draft them this upcoming draft or in the 2023 draft. Great. What's the problem here? Given the situation, you could assure the offensive line is going to be great for the next 8 to 12 years. And they did that. Now, is Penei Sewell going to work out? Hell, I'm not a fortune teller. But he's got the intangibles. And that's on the coaching staff, the trainers, and everybody in that front office to make sure he sees out his potential.
And how do you get better by playing offensive line? Play reps. Get reps in. It's not like quarterback where, you rest a guy, you let him learn mentally. I mean, if you're going to play right tackle, a new position, you got to get out there and get reps. And it's going to cause some mistakes, but that's how he learns.
But this is the time to make the mistakes because the team doesn't have the expectation of, hey, we need to win.
Preseason.
A lot of these linemen that walk into certain situations, the teams the year prior were playoff teams. So they're expecting to get back. No, Lions are in a rebuild. Penei, I don't care how many mistakes you make. Don't make the same mistake twice. Let's get better every single day. Every single day. Week to week, let's improve. Let's get better. And when you do that over the course of the next year or two, you might and probably have yourself a very good right tackle. And that's a win. That's a win. You want to have the Rashawn Slater, Penei Sewell? I don't care. I'm a big fan of Rashawn Slater, but I don't blame the team for not passing on the guy with all the intangibles. Sorry.
Yeah,
how could Brad Holmes address the media post-draft saying, I passed on Penei Sewell for Rashawn Slater or Patrick Surtain because I want to? No. They made the decision. Accept it. And again, he needs 14 to 20 games before I can tell you if he's going to be a good player. Ideally, come Thanksgiving, he's starting to really blossom. That's the ideal scenario. I can't tell you what will happen, but that's my expectation of Penei. So I don't think they're going to regret it unless he actually just flakes out.
Yeah.
And when I mean flake out, I mean he's done before his rookie contract. Then you'll regret it. He's got to play for the next 8 seasons, minimum. Minimum, or they're going to regret it. It's that simple. That's simple. Yeah. Kennedy, Penei Sewell. Your thoughts, 1, on his preseason performances. 2, do you believe there's a scenario where the Lions regret drafting Penei Sewell?
Okay, so preseason performances, obviously they're not exactly what we wanted to see out of him. I expected a little more, but yeah, honestly, after Jeff reminding me that he hasn't played since his sophomore year, he is super young, younger than me, younger than Jeff, I think. And so, I mean, I don't know what we can really expect. He definitely needs the time to grow here. But that being said, I was a little, maybe overly hyped about him and maybe led in the wrong direction because of Detroit media and just some of the pressers and what they were saying. They were saying, oh, he's adjusting perfectly to right tackle. He looks great. So I was just all right, he's going to go out there. He's going to freaking crush it. I was ready. And then, so I'm a little bit let down. But going back to the draft, no, I don't think they took the wrong pick at all. We needed to build up this O-line. It's going to be good. We just have to give it time. So.
All right, fair enough. So I think we're all kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
It's too early to tell if they're going to regret it. We do think he needs time to develop. So that's not a bad situation if you're a Detroit Lions fan to be in. We got to head to break. Before we head to break, of course, guys, you know I'm a betting man. One of my favorite bets this year is going to be the under for the Detroit Lions. Sorry, not sorry. It's just the reality.
Back, everybody. You're tuning into the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so now that preseason is over, we got to talk regular season. The guys have their updated record since the last time we talked about it. So let's start with you, Adam. What do you got?
Yeah, so when we did this last time, I had the Lions finishing 5-12. I think 5 is achievable for any bad team in the NFL. I think you can pull off 3, 4, 5 wins. After the preseason, we didn't learn anything new about the starter stick. I think we can agree on that. They kind of hit everything from us outside of the first, 8 minutes against Buffalo. So you don't really know what to expect. It's not going to change too much for me, but I've never been more confident that this is going to be a losing football team just this season. I think I'm going to drop mine down. I think they're going to be 4-13. I think it's a good under bet. I don't know why you guys are laughing. Like, this is not a great football team. They're going to struggle to move the football downfield. Laugh all you want on 10-7 and everything you think, Art. But regardless, it's not that I want the under. I bet on both. I bet it when it was at 4.5. I bet it when it's at 5. So, regardless. So keep your mouth shut for 1 second. This football team is not going to be a good football team. The wide receiving core is going to hurt Jared Goff and the offensive line just in general over the course of the season. They can protect him for 5, 6, 7 seconds. It won't matter if there's no separation. The wide receiving core is a glaring issue with the team. The secondary is raw. It has good potential, but it's raw. The defensive line, I think, will be very good this year. I think they're going to probably finish in the top half of the league. I think anywhere between in the top 18, I think this defensive line will finish.
Even with that bust on the line?
I'm sorry?
Even with the bust that they have on the
defensive
line?
Defensive line.
Okay.
Offensive line, PFF had them 10th going into the preseason. They're going to be fine.
They'll
but
be fine.
Penei Sewell needs to get better. But regardless, let me finish my point.
I love you, man.
It's going to be a tough year. Jared Goff is going to struggle. Again, not because he's not a good quarterback. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. But he is surrounded with the worst, and it's not even an argument, the worst talent outside of his rookie year that he's ever been around. Hawkinson will get a majority of the attention. If this team isn't able to control the clock and get early leads, they're going to struggle. And you know what happens when you fall behind early? You got to throw the football more. And this team is, in my opinion, are going to finish the bottom 3 in total offense because their passing game is going to be so awful. So I think they're going to be 4-13. I'm going to give them a win less than what I had them last time. Again, this is not the year to be hopeful if you're a Lions fan. Next year, the year after, I'm all game for it. 2 first-round picks next year, 2 the year following. I'm all game. I think it's a good rebuild. If you want to hop on it, great. If you don't, and you think this is going to be a 10-win football team or even an 8-win football team for you guys, I think you're in for a rude awakening because the culture, a good culture and good coaching staff is not good enough to overcome a very bad roster. And that's just my opinion.
And that's fair. You can have your opinion, and the year will play out. So we'll get the final results in that. I'm still going to stick with my 8-9 prediction because the way I look at this and the argument that I've been using against people is I looked at last year's team. That was a 5-win team. Now let's break it down. Our offensive line is better compared to last year. That's a plus. Our running back game is better than last year. That's a plus. TJ Hawkinson is going to be better than he was last year. That is a plus. Our defensive scheme has switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4. It looks like we're going to have more aggressive defenders, which we were historically bad on defense last year. So I think that's a plus. When I add up all these pluses, to me, it's a plus or minus 3 games, right? So we won 5 last year with a quarterback who was pretty much wanted out of here, injured all year. Now we have better offensive line, better running back, better tight end play. Wide receivers, yes, we've fallen off, but last year, Kenny Golladay was injured pretty much the majority of the season. We had Marvin Jones. We had Marvin Jones, but is Marvin Jones that big of a dude to where losing Marvin Jones takes you that far back? Nah.
Well, when you replace him with Tyrell Williams, it's a downgrade.
Yeah, but when Marvin Jones goes to the Jags, he's not the lead dog there. He's behind Chark. He's behind Laviska Shenault.
He's not behind Laviska Shenault. He's not going to be behind Laviska Shenault.
Okay, he's neck and neck with Laviska Shenault. So it's not like when he goes places, he becomes the man. So really, to me, he wasn't the man here either. So wide receiver core, I would say it's a step back. I'm not dumb enough to say we've taken a step forward. But when I look at all these things and I add them together, I think it's going to produce more wins. And on top of that, you got to go with the things you can't measure. Like, guys actually want to show up to work this year. Guys actually want to hit people this year. Guys aren't coming into work dealing with some coach who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, hanging his hat on a call that he made years ago against his offensive coordinator at the time, now Darrell Bevell. So, like, there's just so many things that I can look at and not understand why everybody thinks this team's going to take a step back.
It's not that they're taking a step back as a team.
If
they're
they
going to be
lose
better.
more games,
they're
it's a
gonna,
step back.
No. See, that's where you and every other Lions fan are just so
play?
incompetent.
Why
and
do
I'll
we
tell
play?
you why. And I'll tell you why.
We play
and I'll
to
tell
win
you why.
the game.
Your team, this Detroit Lions roster, is going to improve from last year's roster just because of potential and growth. That are such a young team. This team has the 4th hardest schedule in the NFL.
Okay.
Yet you expect them somehow to have more wins with a downgrade at quarterback, a downgrade at wide receiver. The secondary has not been solved. You don't know what you're getting out at linebacker. No, it's not even a question.
Last year's defense was historically bad. You're telling me it can't get better?
It'll be slightly better.
Okay,
it won't be.
So maybe there's a win.
And
right?
the offense will be worse. And the offense will be worse.
Maybe. Maybe. You don't
Oh my
know
goodness.
that.
I know.
You don't even know what type of
I
offense
know.
we're going to be running.
I know. They're going to be statistically across the board outside of maybe sacks allowed, and I want to say rush attempts. They're going to be down across the board. They're going to be
rush
a bottom
attempts?
tier.
No, they're going to be way higher on rush attempts.
That's what I said. I said outside of rush attempts and sacks allowed, those two I think are going to be really highly rated this year.
Sacks allowed.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to throw the ball as much. They're not going to drop back 40 times a game.
Well,
So
and Goff is captain check down, so he's
that
going to
and-
take less sacks.
that, and they have a good offensive line. It's a good offensive line. So
Right,
they're
so-
going to be worse across the board
so
on
you think
offense outside of those two categories.
So we're not going to be a historically bad defense, right? You'll say
Yeah,
that.
but you're still going to be a bad defense.
Yeah, bad, but not historically bad.
Okay, name me a scenario in the league where you have a bad defense and you got worse on offense and you somehow are going to win more football games the next year because Dan Campbell comes in with 2 cups of coffee and says, "I love you guys. We're going to have a great culture here." It's not happening. Year 1, year 2, we can revisit.
Because I'm
and talk
not looking at the
8, 9,
offense
10
as a
wins.
major step back like you are.
It's a major step back, and
No.
I can't believe how if you downgrade at quarterback and you have zero, you don't have a number 1, you don't have a number 2 going into the season. How in God's name are you
Because for the
supposed to
first
compete in the
time
NFL?
ever, you have a top 10 line.
What
And
is
the
the-
game is won in the trenches. It is.
I didn't know that the offensive linemen get open, and I didn't know the offensive linemen. Let's see, Tyrell Williams, Quintez Cephas, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's your dynamic wide receiving core that's somehow going to win you 3 more games than last year. Not going to happen.
Yeah, but you have a better offensive line. You have running backs with more season to them. Like we discussed, Jamal Williams is going to have a big year. At least I feel that way. So, like, you could take the negatives of just the wide receiver core and focus on that all you want. But as we just went over, who did we really lose? Marvin Jones? Oh, no. And Marvin Hall? Oh, no. Like, there wasn't a huge drop-off in who we lost this year. Kenny Galladay? Dude didn't even want to play here. So he showed up. He faked an injury for half a season. Now he's in New York, and they're
Who won you the football
complaining
games?
about
Who
him.
won your games early on in the season against Atlanta? Who won your football games early on against
Todd
Jacksonville?
Gurley.
Todd Gurley, not Kenny Galladay catching the 40-yard deep outs, right?
Yeah, but you think you don't
You
think
don't
Tyrell
have that
Williams
ability.
is capable
Tyrell
of catching
Williams
a ball?
is not capable of playing like Kenny Galladay.
When he was the wide receiver 1, when he was playing,
He isn't a wide receiver 1
when
though.
he
That's
was,
the problem.
he was putting up Kenny Galladay numbers. He was. Can we go to the stats?
Please do. Go ahead. Pull up Tyrell Williams and count like Kenny Galladay.
And
That's
while
not-
you do that, I'll give you my prediction.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Kennedy.
Kennedy, what you got? 10-7.
No, a little bit more realistic than that. I'm going with 6-11 because we have a harder schedule than we did last year. Things have upgraded. Wide receivers have downgraded. Coaching staff is better, which I think will result in 1 more win. That is all. What are your stats?
What are my stats?
Yes.
For what? Tyrell Williams?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay,
Adam
listen.
wanted.
While Stick goes and does that, listen, guys. This football team is on track to be.
2016.
Go ahead.
Over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Okay. And the one season he was healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. When he's
Okay.
had
Give me
the
Kenny
chance.
Galladay. Okay, wait. And with the Chargers, right? You're talking that same Chargers team. Who was his supporting wide receivers? He wasn't a wide receiver 1.
I believe he was. Kenny Galladay. He's pretty similar. 2018, he had 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. 2019, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. Last year, 338 yards and 2 touchdowns.
How many games
he
played?
sure made
How
our
many games
season
played?
for
How many
us.
games played? You're going. Okay, read Tyrell Williams if you want to count the years where he missed half the season, if not more than half the season. Tyrell Williams has been just as injury prone. Kenny Golladay is more dynamic of a wide receiver than Tyrell Williams. It's not even close. He gives you a tall, lanky, down the field.
The stats
wide
are very
receiver.
similar, man.
Oh my
Honestly,
goodness.
they're very similar.
Oh my goodness. Oh
They
my
are.
goodness. It's people.
They both average about 15 yards per reception, no matter how many receptions they're having. Like Tyrell Williams had 42 last year, 41, 43, and he's always around 15. Then you look at Kenny Golladay. He had 20 receptions last year, 60, 70, then 28 the year before, always around 15 yards.
60 and 70 are wide receiver, low tier wide receiver 1, basically top tier wide receiver 2 numbers. Tyrell Williams isn't either. He's maybe on a good football team.
Season.
On a good football team, he can be a deep threat. That's it. Put up 40 catches, like you said, 700 yards and a few touchdowns. That's Tyrell Williams. He's not going to be a number 1. The team doesn't have a number 1.
Well, he
doesn't
is
have
our
a number
number
2.
1.
Well, that's the problem. That's
Well,
a problem.
Listen, I'm not saying Tyrell Williams is the end-all, be-all, but you got to admit, Kenny Golladay wasn't either.
We're not talking about Kenny Golladay. We're
talking
talking about
about
this
we're
current
talking about
Detroit
the
Lions
attrition.
team. They
Yeah.
downgraded at wide receiver. They downgraded
But it's
at
not that
quarterback.
big of a downgrade if you look at
It's
the
not
numbers.
that big of a downgrade. Oh my goodness!
If you look at the numbers.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, only if you look at one season, Kenny Golladay was hurt, and then the 2 years prior, he was actually an elite receiver. But you won't say that right now because Kenny
you
Golladay
won't
isn't
say
here
that about
anymore.
Tyrell
And you're
Williams,
not. You're
putting up the
you're the
same
fan that
numbers.
when the guy produces for you, you love him. He's a great number 1. Oh my God, Kenny Golladay, he's
never
great.
thought
But then
Golladay was
last
a
year
great
when he gets
number
hurt,
1.
and then he doesn't want to show up and play for the team, it's like, all right, no, he's gone. We didn't downgrade that much, guys. For Lions fans, and you ask me why I rip on all of you. This is exactly why.
Yeah, because
Kennedy,
we look
get
at
us,
stats
Kennedy,
and
get
actually
us
come
out
up
of
with
here.
arguments.
Get us out of here, Kennedy.
Or a flag to
our
throw at you guys.
stats don't matter.
Knock
It's
it
only
off.
Stats
opinion.
don't matter, guys.
It's only
Knock
opinion.
it off. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go because up next we gotta talk about the Little League World Series, which will hopefully make Stick so much happier. So
I'm always happy.
I know, but I mean, Adam gets you a little bit revved up. You know what I'm saying? All right, so
It's just hard
we'll
to
see you-
educate people so much.
Yeah, you
We'll
and every
see you
Lions
guys.
fan needs to be educated
Adam,
for your
shut
60
up.
years of delusion.
Adam, shut up. We will see you
Unreal.
guys after the
60
break.
years,
This
you wanna
is
tell me?
Woodward Sports. Bye. But anyway, there's someone else getting dragged all over Reddit, and that is Tavai. And so I want you guys to tell me, what is everyone's beef with him? I'm hearing he's more hated than Ebron, which is impressive. So what's the tea there?
Oh wow! I mean, I can kind of touch on it a little bit. Well, when you're fat and
Here we go.
unproductive.
Here we go again.
I'm sorry. Look, Mike McCarthy's fat. Jelani Tavai's fat.
And that's
Mike
their
McCarthy,
only
lost
problem.
weight.
Mike McCarthy is unproductive. Jelani Tavai is unproductive. I can make the comparison, but I'm not going to go at Mike McCarthy right now. I'm going to go at Jelani Tavai. 116 total tackles so far in his 2 seasons in Detroit. I mean, you when you're a linebacker and the safeties on your own team are getting more tackles than you, I mean, you have to understand what that means. Yeah. The linebackers are the kind of like, after the D linemen, it's the linebackers. So ideally, they're getting and making all the plays. That way the safeties and the corners don't have to. And Tavai's been very inconsistent in 2 seasons. 2 sacks? So he's averaging a sack a season, but not really because his second season he didn't get any.
No.
58 tackles back-to-back years. 3 forced fumbles, whatever. It's not like we recover them anyways. We have a horrible turnover ratio on defense. But the point with Tavai Kennedy and why people are dogging on him so much is he was a second-round pick. And this is another second-round pick that likely isn't going to pan out for the Detroit Lions. And that's where people's frustrations are stemming. A second-round pick, there were so many available players that you could have taken over Tavai. I don't want to get into it. It's trying to piss me off, and I don't want to start the morning pissed off. But you have to think of it this way, Kennedy. You remember Matt Patricia, correct? You remember, he wasn't in the best of shape.
Unfortunately.
Is that fair?
That was not my beef with
I'm
Matt
asking
Patricia,
you. I'm
though.
just asking you. Was Matt Patricia in good shape?
No, he was not.
Okay, so imagine having a linebacker that looked just like Matt Patricia last season
He doesn't look just like Matt
on the field. He was an extension of Matt Patricia on the field, and that's why people have beef with him.
Listen, I wouldn't say cut the man, like straight up cut the man yet, but Dan Campbell has 2 eyes, and he needs to keep one of them on Mr. Jelani Tavai because he struggled his first 2 seasons, like Adam said. But you could partially blame poor schemes or poor coaching, but because his rookie year wasn't that bad. The 2 sacks right there and the interception came both in his rookie year, and he only started 6 games. So that year, I mean, the interception was on Jameis Winston. I might add that. So
All right,
you know
so
what?
then it's not even an interception. It doesn't count.
So we might just, we won't talk about that. But coming into his second year, God, how do you go down in your second year in tackles, total tackles, assisted tackles, and he started more games? Like, that is the question I can't answer, and this is a big year for the man because he lost some weight. Adam, he did lose some weight.
I don't care. I don't care.
So that is a positive, but
I don't care.
He needs to produce on the field, or else he will be on his way out.
Thank you. I don't care if he lost 50 pounds and he was shredded of muscle and he looked like The Rock. If he's not going to contribute on the field, I don't care.
He still lacks lateral. He's not quick enough to make plays.
I think Derek Barnes is poised to take his role.
I agree.
This season. It's perfectly set up for him to take over. And to answer Kennedy's question, is it time for the Lions to cut ties with Tavai? Considering you're not playing or contending this season, I think no. I think you just waited. You see how he develops. Is he going to get sideline to sideline ideally like you'd like? No, he's not. So you kind of take the pros and the cons. Like, the pros are you maybe get something more out of him this season. The cons are you wasted a second-round pick, and here we are back to square one. So it's a frustrating situation, Kennedy. So to answer why people are so frustrated all over Twitter, and the fact that people hate him more than Ebron just tells you how bad he is.
That does say a lot because holy heck, I mean that man still gets dragged and he hasn't been here in a couple of years.
Yeah, but Ebron just he was Ebron.
Well, and it was worse when he went to the Colts and then did actually sort of decent, and that just really rubbed me the wrong way.
He had double-digit touchdowns, but he wasn't a dominant tight end. He was just very fortunate.
He was better than he was here,
that year in the red zone, he was so dominant.
Yeah,
that was it.
And at least Tavai doesn't talk back to the fans like that. He just kind of keeps quiet. Yes, he sucks, but he just keeps quiet. Ebron was
at least Tavai does one thing right. When you suck, you probably shouldn't open your mouth. So Ebron could have taken something out of that.
Did you guys see that video of Patricia roasting him though? That was kind of funny. How he was like, "You tackle like this," and was like, "Ugh," and he.
Oh no, that was Campbell. Yep. Campbell, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I thought that was funny because I'm like, Corey said yesterday, if there's smoke, there's fire. So if he's bringing stuff up like that, I wonder what he's doing off camera because it ain't looking
embarrassing.
Good. Yeah, it is embarrassing.
Not allegedly. I know for a fact. I saw it on Twitter. They had Campbell mic'd up all yesterday, so I'm excited to watch that video. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, if Dan Campbell's going after Tavai in practice, I'm just going to sit down and watch and grab popcorn. It's not going to be pretty.
Adam loves misery.
It's not about misery.
No,
it's
I know.
just
I've only seen him be super positive, so to see him sit there and make fun of someone and be like, what did he say? He was like, get your body right,
Yeah.
like you're being lazy. He was calling him lazy, so he's right there with you, Adam.
When you look like Matt Patricia, sorry, you're going to send off vibes that you're lazy. Sorry. When you're that heavy, that's what you look like.
Oh.
You know what's crazy? Okay, to defend him, this doesn't make it better, but the Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn did ask him to gain weight because they were trying to use him as an outside linebacker. I think he gained 40 pounds.
I totally disagree. No, that's not actually what happened. Here's what happened.
Okay, all right. So
Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn, yes, they drafted him. Yeah. Matt Patricia walked into camp, noticed the physique that Jelani Tavai had, and he was very, what's the word here? Jealous. So he asked Tavai to gain weight. Not to help the football team. No. Just to help
have a bigger guy than him on a team.
Yeah, he wanted another fat person on the team instead of the lineman. So he asked Tavai to gain 50 pounds. I don't know how you don't know that story. That was front page news for the last 2 years.
Okay, listen. That might be true. But the fact that he lost weight and in preseason wasn't looking that good. I mean, he can't stay in front of ball carriers.
He lost weight.
He can't stay in front of ball carriers.
And prior to the even training camp, the hype was Jelani Tavai lost weight. Is he going to be more explosive? Is he going to be more dynamic at linebacker this year? Everybody was so excited. And he struggled all of camp, and he struggled against the Bills. He didn't look any good. He didn't pop off the screen. Your linebacker is one of the most important positions on defense. That's your communicator. That's your leader. That's the guy that is filling the gaps that the offensive line is creating on your defensive line. I mean, it's such an important position. The Lions shouldn't be happy with Tavai. If I were them, I think you stick it out for the year, and then you cut bait after. You're not going to sign him to he's not getting a second contract in Detroit. He may be on the practice squad at best next season. If he gets cut, we'll see. But when we get back from the break,
it's not going to be no easy walk. What? Don't give me clap.
Jelani Tavai has been cut. God bless this country.
Are you serious?
God bless the United States. God bless Brad Holmes, and God bless the Detroit Lions.
No way.
This couldn't have been any better. God bless Corey Woods for tweeting it out.
Okay, that's
God
breaking news.
bless you, Corey.
Hold on. Move on from Jared Goff real quick. We got to talk about this Tavai stuff.
My goodness.
This is a relief because, like we just said earlier, I did make the point. If Dan Campbell's going to say Tyrell Crosby just wasn't one of the best guys, that's why we got rid of him, then why is Tavai still here? And he answered that question for us, thanks to our guy, Detroit Lions beat writer Corey Woods, for breaking that to us. And I am thrilled, Adam. And you did make the point earlier, the depth in this linebacker room is not very good, but doesn't mean you can't find a replacement because he wasn't very good. And you know this too, Adam.
This is very promising. This is very promising. This is a very good sign. Barnes is going to get much more playing time, which I'm very, very excited to see. Again, Lions fans, year one, don't come at me with the expectations that you're going to actually think you're going to win 8, 9, 10 football games. Get it out of your head.
Well, get it out of your head.
Fish, be quiet for 1 second. Having said that, you get to watch Jeff Okudah, Barnes, St. Brown, Cephas, your D linemen that you took, Levy, you have Iffy. There's so many players that you can just watch grow this year that will make you optimistic towards the future. You've gotten rid of Tavai. Good. That bum is not playing anymore. That is a very good move. I get to see more Derek Barnes. I love it. But again, he's not going to... All right. Tavai is not going to go to another team and play any better. I promise you. The Najee Harris play alone tells you exactly what he is. He reacts. He's not thinking. He doesn't play ahead. When you play the linebacker position, it's actually a very demanding position on the brain. It's a super mental position on the defensive side of the ball. You need to not only understand what the quarterback is doing, what the running back is doing, but what the offensive line is doing, and what your defensive line is doing, what your safeties are doing, and what your coverage is. You need to understand all of this and where you fit in that individual play. Thank goodness this bum is gone. Brad Holmes, thank you very much. Congratulations to every Detroit Lions fan. This is a very special moment for everybody. The second-round pick that nobody knew of is finally gone. I'm very happy about it. I couldn't be more excited about it. And again, another good sign that this team under Brad Holmes is heading in the right direction. I'm all for it. It's a great move.
No, it's a great move. You can't argue with it. And this shows us that Brad Holmes' talent evaluation and player personnel, he just knows, man. He knows it, man. And we might be saying here as fans, cut Jelani Tavai. You know, we might make our own evaluations, but he sees it. He's watching these football games, and he saw the play Najee Harris made on him that might have just sealed the deal. And it's not just that. There's way other plays, you know, back in the season and the preseason. So to end it right there, let's all celebrate because it's a good day for all Detroit Lions fans.
Brad Holmes, I owe you a steak dinner, my friend. Thank you so much for making that move. I cannot tell you guys how well I will sleep at night knowing that Jelani Tavai is not a Detroit Lion anymore. It's a great move. The next bum we need gone is Adam from Woodward Sports. All right, well, I'll go to the meeting room. We'll have
Adam has a no trade clause.
We'll have a conversation with everybody,
chilling.
and we'll see if we want to cut me. And if we want to cut me, we'll move on. But I think it's a great move. It really reassures me on what I've been saying, which is year one, just throw out expectations, enjoy watching the games. Just enjoy them. Hopefully they come out with grit, tenacity, they're fighting, they're not accepting losing. Good, I'm all for that. But they're not going to be a good football team. All right, let's accept that, move on. Know that year two, in this upcoming draft, you're going to be drafting a quarterback more likely than not, because you have 2 first-round picks over the next 2 seasons. So over the next 2 seasons, you might be drafting, you will be drafting a quarterback in one of the 2 years, preferably this upcoming draft, just so you can sit him for a year. Jared Goff gets off the books. You can bring in veterans on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. Like, guys, history is repeating itself. If you would just shut up and listen and get on board. They're doing it the right way. It's not going to happen year one. Don't judge. Do not judge Dan Campbell year one unless he's going out there and making obvious coaching mistakes.
Right.
But no, go out there. Let the team play. They're going to lose a lot of football games. That's okay given the trajectory they're on. They're actually doing things the right way. So I would encourage all of you to get on the 2 to 3 year Lions are going to be NFC North contenders bandwagon, because it ain't going to be year one. And I promise you'll just be disappointed, and you'll come back to me in the offseason and tell me, Adam, same old Lions. I don't want to say that. I don't like saying same old Lions. There's a reason why I've never said it. I don't believe in it. I think this team, with this front office, is finally taking appropriate measures that structured companies actually take when they're trying to grow and improve and move on from their past. I like the moves. I absolutely like them. I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't be happier. This has been 57 years in the making to finally see competent moves. Now, could Brad Holmes still mess it up? Could Dan Campbell not be the coach? Yes, there's so many factors that need to go well for this to all pan out. But if Dan Campbell isn't the coach, but you still built a good roster, you could just get rid of the coach in 3 years and bring in the coach who's going to take the team to the next level. We've seen that happen so many times. The Rams had a loaded roster. They had just drafted Jared Goff. Fisher was an awful head coach, ruined the entire locker room. Sean McVay walks in, sits his team for the preseason, 11-5, 13-3, Super Bowl. It's all out there. Go look at Seattle. Go look at Kansas City. It's all out there. Brad Holmes, more than any of us in this room, and especially any of you in the chat, know exactly what they're doing. And I'm all for this. I couldn't be more pleased. I don't want to just nag on this guy because he's a horrible player. But when you make moves like that, you're making it clear. We're not accepting individuals who not only play team ball, but who just aren't improving day to day. Your job, your sole responsibility as an individual, both at home and on the football field, is to become a better man or woman every single day. And if you can't do that, you have no business working here. I'm all for it. Kennedy, I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't be happier.
I'm so glad that you're happy. Welcome back, everyone. I don't even think I want to bring up this next topic because you guys continuously hurt me anytime the Lions are brought up. And I know already that Adam wants the team to go 0-17.
I do.
For the storyline of it all. But we're going to get into how many away games will a team win this year. Terry, let's start with you. What do you think?
I got them for 2. They will finish 5-11, maybe 6 no, not 5-11, 5-12, or 6-11. I got to adjust for the 17-game schedule, guys. This is not a good team. They are building something here. They do not have playmakers. They have a game manager quarterback. They're going to try to win in the National Football League by running the football. I don't see Travis Henry on this roster. I don't see the old Dallas Cowboys offensive line on this roster, although it could be good. I think the Lions are taking the long view. They decided to draft Penei Sewell. They decided to work on that offensive line more rather than bringing in Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a nice, shiny penny. And yes, he's going to do well in Chicago. But if you want to win and you want to sustain it, I think they're looking at it this way. You build it from the middle out. You make sure you have a good offensive line. You try to develop a defensive line. And it's not sexy. It's not what fans want to hear, but the bottom line, they're taking a longer view. And I think even the Lions, if you give them a shot of bourbon, they will admit, yeah, it's going to be a poor season. But we're hoping in 2024 or maybe 2023, this thing will be turned around.
I think that's a great way to put it. The roster isn't good enough to compete this year, especially considering they have the 6th hardest schedule overall. And then they have the 4th hardest schedule based on win totals from last season. But you look at their schedule now. Monday night, open up away in Lambeau, Green Bay. That's a loss. Away to Chicago. You haven't done great there in the last few years. Away to Minnesota. Away to LA. Good luck in LA. Good luck in Pittsburgh. Although I think they can beat the Steelers, but that's beyond the point.
Now, you know what the goofballs around here are saying? They're going to LA twice. Once to face the Rams, and the second time to watch the Lions play in the Super Bowl. No.
You are correct.
Oh, my goodness. You know, people like that deserve the worst life possible.
Well, you
because
won't be able to go to
they ruin things for
LA.
other people.
You know
They
what?
give this false expectation that everything's gonna be great. We're gonna be so great. I'm so excited. I'm excited for the football season. I'm just not willing to put 10, 11 win expectations on a rookie head coach, a roster that downgraded at wide receiver and quarterback. The secondary didn't get all that better. They addressed the O-line and the defensive line, so I kind of like that. They're telling you we're 2-3 years away from being a very good football team.
Linebackers either.
We're 2-3 years away from being a very good football team, given we get the right quarterback in the next 2 drafts.
Right.
That's a great thing. That's a great position to be in if you're a Detroit Lions fan. Let people talk shit about you now. It's fine. Knowing in 2 years, you get the right quarterback, you continue to build the right pieces on this football team, you get a few skill position guys, you open up the salary cap by getting rid of Goff in 2 years. Now you can bring in free agents, veterans, wide receivers, some secondary players if you need them at the time. Like, you can build a very good football team if you just chill back and be like, man, I'm gonna enjoy this football season, Terry.
Right.
I'm not even stressing it. We're gonna win 4. Hell, we win 4. I'm cool. We win 6. I'm cool. I'd rather win 4.
You know what you can look forward to? Those high draft picks in the first round.
That's right. I got 4 draft picks in the first round over the next 2 years. That's a great situation to be in.
Young man's league.
But come on, guys. Look at the schedule. You got Green Bay. You're away to Chicago. You're away to Minnesota.
Win.
Away to Los Angeles.
Win.
Away to Pittsburgh. Away to Cleveland.
Win.
Those are 2. What? Fish? Are you serious?
Yes. You. By the way, you meant to say 2 to 3 months, right? Not 2 to 3 years.
Fish, I hope you're just joking with me.
Yeah, they're gonna win. They're gonna win.
They're not gonna win.
They are.
They're going to win in Cleveland.
The only
Yes.
game they can win, on that road schedule right now
It's all
is going to
them.
be away. Is going to be away to one of their divisional opponents, which is likely Minnesota because it's in a dome. So they could beat Minnesota away because Kirk Cousins is also their quarterback. They could beat Pittsburgh because they're going to be coming off a bye week, so they're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for Ben Roethlisberger's old ass. And they may beat Denver. So you maybe get 3 wins on the road. Maybe. And I'm being generous. You maybe get 3 wins. That's how you're going to go 10-7. You're going to win 3 on the road. 7-1 at home. Yeah, that's so realistic. Yeah, because Ford Field, people are so nervous when they come to Ford Field and getting ready to play for the Lions. They're just so intimidating. The fans are so scary. Oh my God, what are they going to do? Are they going to put plastic bags over their head again? Oh my God, what are they going to do? Come on. The team is in a rebuild.
I think they're afraid of Crackman.
As they should be.
No, they should be afraid of Crackman because they. Let's
And
not
they
go
need
there.
to be afraid of Art when he does that, like, growl thing. There it is. Yep, that.
No. You know what Lions fans need to do? They need to just chill back and listen to Terry and myself and be like, all right, you know what? It's not going to be a great year, but you know what? I can look forward to watching a Jeff Okuda.
But you know what? We're not going to get credit. You know what these assholes going to say? They say, oh, that Adam and Terry, they were so negative. They brought down the vibe of this team. This team was going to take off, and they were too negative. And these guys listened to them, and that's why they won 5 games.
My goodness.
It went into the locker room.
It's not negative
Common
energy.
sense.
You can bring in the rah-rah coach, and we're going to talk about that later, about Dan Campbell's antics and how he's Mr. I love life 24/7. Look at me, look at the energy. We're going to talk later on how long that's going to last, but again, you don't have a good football team. If I asked you September of last year, who was a better quarterback, Stafford or Goff, you would tell me 10 times out of 10, Stafford. Don't lie to yourself. Don't bullshit. The Rams were willing to give you 2 first-round picks to get rid of his ass. So you think he's going to come here and put up numbers like Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, he
Give me
is.
a break. Yeah, I know. That's why you Lions fans like Fish, Art, and the people in the chat, or at least some of them. I don't want to call all of them out because there are some smart Lions fans. But to all the dumb ones,
There's a lot of
and
them.
there's a lot of them, the team isn't good. Just enjoy the football season. Just chill back.
Oh, just enjoy it when we're losing.
It's okay. It's okay because you know in 2-3 years you're going to be a very good football team
2-3
that
months.
could potentially compete for the next 10 years. How amazing would that be? I don't want 9-7, 7-9, 9-7, 6-12, 11. I don't want that. I want consistency. This franchise needs to, and the fan base need to up their expectations, but not expectations only, their standards. The expectation should be on the standards, not just on the on-field product. No. I want to see us build a winning culture, not Dan Campbell, I got a cup here, I got culture here, I got love here. Every single morning, everything is shiny and rosy. No, just no. That's not how it works in the NFL. It's not how it works.
It does.
They got to take a page out of
You have
Seattle.
to understand, though, it's so hard to stay positive all season when you're losing all the time. Like,
Whose fault is that?
the Lions' fault, not mine. Certainly not my
No,
fault.
it is your fault.
No, Terry.
To a certain extent,
Thank you.
it is your fault. Because Lion fans, every year,
I know.
they said, this is the year. Don't mess with my vibe. My Lions are going to be good this year. Every year. You guys fall. You know what Lion fans are? They're Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, when Lucy has the football there and pulls it away. Then, by November, you're all pissed off at the team.
Yep.
They let me down. I hate this team.
I wish it was that
Terry,
way.
do you have a
it's
camera in my
actually
house?
even worse than that. It's not even that they're just angry come November.
No.
It's if we just had that one play go our way, I swear we're 2 games away. If we could just win these next 2, I'm telling you, we can make the playoffs.
No,
Yeah, I'm telling you, Kennedy, listen, we win on Thanksgiving. I'm telling you, we could win out. We could win out, Kennedy. We could be a wild card team. And you know what? If we just give ourselves a chance, we could do something.
Here's how delusional Lion fans are. If you ask them, what's the Lions' Thanksgiving Day record? They'll say, they've won about 75, 80% of their games. They have a losing record on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
Guess what? That'll
The only
change this
reason the
year.
NFL doesn't take Thanksgiving away from the Detroit Lions is because it's actually good for ratings. They're actually good for ratings because people just wake up like, I wonder if Peyton Manning's going to throw 6 touchdowns this morning against the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. I wonder if Mitchell Trubisky's going to light up the Lions today. Like, people just... Fantasy owners love the Lions playing on Thanksgiving Day. Teams love playing the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. The only ones that don't enjoy playing on Thanksgiving Day
the
are the
Bears.
Lions. That's it. It's that
You don't
simple.
think they like it a little?
I don't think they like losing. I would distaste something if every day I woke up and every single year I was losing.
Even
year
when they had that
after year.
lit Nickelback concert?
I don't care if they had Nickelback. I don't care if they had Jesus. I don't care if you brought back One Direction. It doesn't matter.
Don't
Didn't
even
Kid
It
Rock
doesn't
do it
matter.
1 year? Kid
The
Rock did
point
it 1
is,
year, right?
the team needs a few years.
No?
Yes.
Get on the train of, I want to grow with the team. I want to see Okuda improve. I want to see the offensive line develop into a top 10 offensive line like PFF is the way PFF has rated them. I want to see Goff just do well enough so we can just get rid of his ass in 2 years and everything's cool. I want to see the team draft a quarterback. I want to see my quarterback sit a year and learn and grow. And I want to see pieces built around the team. It's a great situation for the Lions to be in. It's actually one of the best situations they've been in probably since the offseason before they hired Jim Caldwell. They had a great roster. They went and brought in a good management coach, a guy who was respected by the players. And you saw they won 11 games. Granted, they choked the shit out of that season, but hey, Lions fans tend to forget what happened, so they kind of skew things.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. So happy to have you here, but some not so happy stuff. The Lions have a problem, and it's in their wide receiver cores. So it's interesting because it wasn't too long ago that the Lions were constantly getting roasted for drafting wide receivers. And now, look around. What do we have going for us? Not a lot. We've got St. Brown, and we think we've got Kennedy, and then we've already had some injuries with Tyrell Williams. It's not good. So what do you think, Jeff? How big of an issue is this for us?
Oh, it's a big issue. Anytime you have arguably the worst wide receiver core, maybe not even arguably, in the league, it's bad. It's very bad. I mean, you have Tyrell Williams, who I think he's a 2, a good 3 on a good team. It's hard because Tyrell Williams is a good receiver, but the numbers he's put up, he's never cleared over 700 yards, which is great. I mean, that's impressive, but it's not a wide receiver 1. He's coming into this team pretty much the only weapon besides TJ Hawkinson. You got, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who we don't know much about, and then, of course, Tyrell Williams. So, yes, it's a problem. You want more guys you can rely on. Jared Goff, I don't even know who necessarily is going to be his security blanket. You got TJ Hawkinson, of course, but when the defense focuses on TJ Hawkinson, who do we got? And it's hard to start naming off guys. And you can't really reach into free agency because we've already had the talk about Golden Tate. I'm not going to sign Alshon Jeffrey. There's 2 veterans that this team should not need or want. And besides that, this team should be looking at the waiver wire and seeing who possibly they can grab that they can turn into a solid player. But it's a problem, of course. This is something that the team's definitely going to address come this draft. 2 first-round picks. There's no reason why this team should be targeting a linebacker, a quarterback, or a wide receiver in this first round because it's a problem. And if people are saying you're going to win 8 to 9 to 10 games, you can't do it with only one tight end as a receiver. I mean, you got to have more guys that can open up. And I'm not going to sit here and say Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to have immediate impact because we don't know. I think he'll be a good player, but telling you guys he's going to come in and dominate is unlikely. So you got T.J. Hockenson, who I can say for sure is going to have a great year, but I can't say too much else other than that. So it's a problem. It's a big issue, and I know Adam will say something similar because it's something the fans you can't hide from. It's not looking good. It's not.
Okay, you look at the wide receiving core. It is a weakness. I don't want to beat it over the head too much. It is a weakness. Accept it. Accept it. Tyrell Williams, if you want to sit up here and tell me that he's a 1, I can't take you seriously. He is a number 2 at best in a good situation if healthy. He's not a 1. What are we doing? You have Tyrell Williams, Quintez Cephas, who you'd ideally becomes your future 2. And then you have, let's say, Amon-Ra St. Brown turns out to be what everybody wants him to be, which is the next Golden Tate, the Yak King, and he's your slot. Good. You're still missing a 1. Now, Adam, what is a 1? What does a 1 do for a football team? I do agree to an extent, or I believe I should say, that just because you have a number 1 wide receiver, it does not guarantee anything. We've seen that over some of the best wide receivers in our lifetime have had 0 team success. But in today's NFL, Patrick Mahomes has Tyreek Hill. Josh Allen went from a questionable quarterback to an MVP candidate with Stephon Diggs. You need a number 1 if you want to be one of the great teams in the NFL. And the way you get your number 1 is you draft them, you blossom them, and by year 2 or 3, they clearly show they're alphas. That's simple. And then you got to pay them. Now, if you want to go out in free agency and get a number 1 on the market, if you're getting a number 1 on the market, 99 times out of 100, I promise you it's not a 1 if he's available on free agency.
No.
So it's not a 1. Tyrell is not a 1. He's acting as your 1 because you're in a bad situation. You're in a rebuild, and you need an Amon-Ra St. Brown to develop this year. You need another wide receiver that you draft next year to develop over the year following. You're in a rebuild. What happens when you get to the goal line? You're just going to run the ball down team's throat? I hope so. We'll see. That'd be nice. But you're not going to be able to throw the ball because the moment you drop back, Hockenson is getting the linebacker and the safety. So he's not an option. Tyrell Williams, what are you going to do? Run fade routes with Tyrell Williams, Cephas? Amon-Ra St. Brown? Who's running your dig routes? Who? Who's going to make tough catches in the NFL for you? There's nobody on the roster right now yet to prove they're capable of that. And the wide receiving unit is going to be not, it might be, not Adam, no, it could be good. It's serviceable at best. It will not be good. It'll be ugly to watch. And whether you like it or not, Tyrell Williams is not a 1. He's a 2 in a great situation. Maybe in a Kansas City, he would fit perfectly as a number 2. That's it. That's it.
And let me address this real quick because us saying he's not a wide receiver 1 isn't saying he won't be our wide receiver 1. I don't think we'll have a choice. He's going to be our wide receiver 1. My point is, he put up 1K when he was 24 years old, 1K yards. He had 120 targets that year. Since then, he hasn't cleared over 70 targets. So the targets I don't think are going to be there this year. You got T.J. Hockenson. I think he'll share the wealth a little bit, and we're going to be running the ball a lot. So for you to sit here and tell me, he's 6 years into the NFL, he's going to put up 1K yards this year, then I just don't want to put my money on it. I don't have faith in Tyrell Williams. I think he's a good wide receiver. Like I said, good wide receiver 2 on a good team. Right now, I think by default, he's our wide receiver 1. But if you guys want to put your faith in him, go ahead. But there's not a lot of depth, man. It's tough. If you got Khalif Raymond, who's a great returner and can be a great slot receiver for us, But if you're putting him at wide receiver 2, it's a problem. And I don't know how you can say otherwise. It just doesn't make sense.
Look, again, Tyrell Williams is a nice piece. But it's not the nice piece you take out to a fancy dinner. It just isn't. That's not a dime. You don't have a number 1. It's okay. Cool. He will act as your number 1. But he is not at his best when he's the number 1. We always said this about Marvin Jones. How good did Marvin Jones look? How nice was it to have Marvin Jones out there when Kenny Golladay was out there? Was Kenny Golladay a true 1? No, but he was borderline what you'd expect from a 1. He didn't put up 1 numbers, but he acted as your 1. And when you have that, your 2s, like a Marvin Jones, like a Tyrell Williams, really start to shine because they're not getting as much attention. They're more in one-on-one situations where they can look good. Hawkinson is, again, a very good tight end, but he's not part of your receiving core.
No.
He's not. Your wide receiving core has one proven wide receiver who at best is a number 2, and that's Tyrell Williams. Quintez Cephas, we all have questions about. Amon-Ra St. Brown, everybody loves to rave about him, and I think it's really good news coming out. Kid's got a good head on his shoulder. He's feisty. Cool, I like that. Like that from a wide receiver. But he puts up 3 catches for 14 yards, and we're in here the next day throwing our papers in the air. What a steal. What are we doing? Kennedy?
We have some info. Taking this from Dave Burkett. So the Lions waived Craig Reynolds, which is interesting.
Yep.
And they actually have, it says their number 5 wide receiver. Broncos have traded wide receiver Trinity Benson to the Lions in exchange for a 5th round and 7th round pick in 2022. So there you
go.
have it.
I mean,
Trinity Benson?
Yeah, I kind of expected they're going to make
Broncos.
some moves. I mean, but for an unproven guy, he's 24, hasn't really put up stats in the league. I don't know his collegiate stats. I know he went to I don't know where he went to college.
He's got 0 career stats.
Okay, well,
and we gave up a 5th and a 7th?
Not sure about the 2 picks.
Are they conditional picks? Where if he doesn't play a game, we get the picks back? I mean,
yeah, I don't know how I feel about that trade. 2 picks.
I don't know enough. All I know is it doesn't make sense.
No,
I need St. Brown and I need Cephas to get as many targets this year as possible. So I can see, are they going to be good? Cephas more than Brown because Brown's year 1 and he's a rookie. But Cephas coming off a disappointing year 1, I'd like to see him bounce back. Get about 70, 80 targets. Have a catch rate maybe, 56, 58%? That'd be nice. Put up some good yards. Oof. I don't know what this does. I really don't. This doesn't make any sense to me.
I think a 5th.
This guy doesn't have a single reception in his NFL career.
That's
and we
a
gave
problem.
up a 5th and a 7th?
Now,
you know what you can find in a 5th and a 7th round? You can find a good backup running back, linebacker, corner, a special teamer. We're giving that up for a wide receiver who won't be on the roster next year? Unbelievable.
Listen, he's a rookie. He's a
Unbelievable.
rookie wide receiver from East Central University, so he's young. But like Adam just said, 5th and a 7th is a lot. I think if you would have gave like a 6th or whatever the case may be, so be it. But 2 picks for next year, especially
How do we give up 2 picks, receive nothing but a wide receiver? Can someone give me the
who
information?
hasn't played at all? Yeah,
Is that the correct information? Do we not get
Yeah.
anything?
We got that in a 6th round pick.
Oh, he's undrafted too. This
We
is
gave
undrafted.
we gave a 5th and a 7th. We got a 6th and a receiver.
Who's
Okay,
undrafted?
I don't hate that.
Undrafted.
I
out
hate
of,
the receiver part of it.
Yeah.
But you basically upgraded your 7th into a 6th round pick, is what you did. That's what you did. You upgraded your 7th into a 6th. Whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, my goodness.
Some people in the chat are now a bit nervous for Tom Kennedy. They're saying he's getting cut unless we keep 6 wide receivers. What do you think about that?
I mean, what do you guys expect? Look at the
Yeah.
wide receiving unit.
Yeah.
If Tom Kennedy is fighting for a starting spot on your wide receiving unit, you've got problems. You've got problems. Could he be a good gadget? Could he be good on the practice squad? I'm sure they'll keep him. But what do you have? You have nothing. Who's Trinity Benson? He doesn't have a catch in the NFL. Is he an undrafted rookie this year, or is he
2019,
2000? So 2
Yeah,
years.
2 years
This is
ago.
his 3rd year,
and he hasn't played. NFL
and he hasn't
football.
played a single down in the NFL.
That's a little worrying.
yeah.
But he will
but
get
no,
opportunities.
it's not a worry. I could care less. He won't be on the roster next year.
Oh, So that
I think the move was you gave up the 5th and 7th to upgrade and get a 6th. Because Trinity Benson, how is he going to get playing time when you have Quintez Cephas, Tyrell Williams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, unless 2 of them get hurt? Even 1. That's what you're like. Unless you really didn't like the depth you had at wide receiver, which we can all agree wasn't amazing,
Right.
then okay, go get Trinity Benson. Maybe you see something in him that nobody else sees. He's 6 foot, 180 pounds.
he's on the practice squad for the last 2 years with the Broncos.
Wow, this move. Okay, first the Crosby move. If they waive Craig Reynolds, that's fine. He's a story.
They like Jamar Jefferson.
We saw the Cleveland Browns kid score what? That amazing kick return touchdown. He didn't make the team, and they made the playoffs the next year. Or that season, I should say. Like, there's always a story in preseason. It's nice. He'll make a practice squad. He'll make $60K a year being on the practice squad. It's a good living until maybe he gets his next opportunity. That's great. But you drafted Jamar Jefferson. You've seen the flashes. You're not bringing in a 4th running back.
No.
It's just not going to happen. He'll be on the practice squad until DeAndre Swift gets hurt, and then they'll bring him up. It's that simple.
I just want to see the man on the field. So Trinity Benson, as much as question marks as we have about the trade itself, just see the man catch some footballs, and we'll determine it from there. That's all.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching The Morning Wood on the Woodward Sports Network. Like I said, we're going to get into the guys' top 5 players in the NFL. All right, so the top 5 that came out of the top 100 that the NFL released were at 5, Josh Allen, then Aaron Donald, Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, and at 1, Patrick Mahomes. So you guys have put together a list. Let's start with you, Jeff. Who you got?
Number 5, I got Travis Kelce, because let me just say this. He holds the NFL record for the most 1,000-yard seasons by a tight end, which is 5. Single-season receiving yards by a tight end, 14-16, and most 100 reception seasons by a tight end, which is 2. So he's shown us, and tight ends are very important in this game. They do multiple things, and he's shown by far, I know Kittle can be in the conversation, but he's the best pass-catching tight end in quite some time. He's shown that, and I mean, you could argue Derrick Henry, he's coming off a 2,000-yard season, but I think Travis Kelce just is so much more important, especially on the offensive end. So
I feel like, a dad that took his kid out, all my life I'm playing ball with my kid in the backyard, we're playing catch, and I always tell my kid, if the ball comes to the outside of the plate, just ride the swing. Take it to right field, get your base hit, and walk away safe. Wow, I can't believe. Are you looking at my notes?
No, hey, I'm just.
All right. Well,
facts,
my number 5 is also Travis Kelce.
I gotta hide my sheet.
Travis Kelce has had 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Career high last season in receptions, touchdowns, yards, all across the board. Kelce has become one of, if not the most dynamic pass-catching tight end in the history of the NFL. In my opinion, he deserves to be in the top 5, and I'm glad we agree on that one, Jeff. Who's your number 4?
Okay, this one was tough because I was deciding between 2 people, and I ended up going with the winner of the last game they played. I'll go for Aaron Rodgers because last year's MVP is coming off a monster season. We could talk all day about his ability to throw the football, all right? But he just comes a little short in those big games. I respect the skill, but I can't rank him above Tom, who just threw 3 picks and still beat him. So I don't. Tom is clearly he's the champion. He had a monster year as well. People forget. I mean, I think Aaron had 45 touchdowns, 4 picks, something like that. Tom had 44 and 12, so he was right behind him. I just think right now, Aaron Rodgers, man, it was hard. It was very hard putting him right behind Tom, but I got him at 4. So I want to hear what you have.
All
Aaron
right,
Rodgers.
good. So now we're getting into the real conversation. So Aaron Rodgers is not in my top 5.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
No!
Oh
no!
yeah!
No!
Oh yeah! Reigning MVP, not in my top 5. Sorry, not gonna happen.
Are you? Who do you? I
I'm
need
not
to hear
joking.
this. I need
I'm
to
not
hear
joking.
this. Tell me who you have.
All right. So you kind of mentioned earlier that based on on your list, you weren't gonna rank Rodgers ahead of Brady. So my logic. All right. So you probably have Brady at 3 or 2. Regardless. We're going to stick to number 4. I got Josh Allen. The guy, in my opinion, was actually more of an MVP last year than Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen is not only ready to explode, he exploded onto the scene last year. The addition of Stephon Diggs helped him grow so much. This is the year that the Bills are going to, more likely than not, end the Chiefs' back-to-back Super Bowl appearance run and probably win the AFC, in my opinion. This is their year. They've got the fan base. They've got the run game. They've got the dynamic quarterback. They've got the wide receiving core. They have the defense. They have pass rushers that they drafted this season in the first round. Josh Allen is the man. In my opinion, he is the 4th best player in the NFL right now. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, I will say, though, I will give Aaron Rodgers this. He was number 6. I had him at 6.
How flattering.
I did have him at 6, but I'm sorry. I chose Kelsey over Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, not sorry. Packers fans, FTB, FTP too. F them both.
You know what?
So Rodgers not in my top 5. You can give me all the finesse, all the arm talent in the world. He's missing something that I'm not buying, and he's a dramatic little girl, so I'm not interested. Go ahead.
All right. Obviously, Adam has a little something personal with Aaron Rodgers, but moving on to 3, I'll start. Obviously, I hinted at earlier. It's Tom Brady, because even at the age of 44, he's the GOAT for a reason. We can talk, about his ability to, win Super Bowls. He's got, a ton of them, but he just beat Aaron Rodgers in a playoff game. So that's why I determined the ranking there. And I think Tom coming into this season, yes, he, has a torn MCL. Health is looking a little, scarce, but never doubt Tom Brady. That's one thing I've always learned. Never bet against Tom Brady, and he's proven that every single year. So come this year, I think he'll stay right around that top 3. I have him at 3. I could see him sliding out of that 3 to 4 or 5, but he'll stay around there. So I got confidence. I got Tom at 3. So
all right. Well, this is another one we agree on. I got Tom Brady at 3. Well, the GOAT himself, regardless of his age, though, he's coming off a 40 touchdown, 12 interception season. Unbelievable. Tom Brady's not going anywhere. I do think he's the 3rd best player. It's not so much I'm expecting him to be a top 3, top 5 player given regular season performances, but you saw what he did in postseason last year. Guys, you got to have him in your top 5. Now, I could have had him at 5, 4, 3. It didn't matter. He's definitely not 2 or 1. But he earned that respect last season by leaving New England, going to Tampa Bay, delivering a franchise that was probably just as bad as the Detroit Lions over the last 25 years, and helped them turn into Super Bowl contenders. And they ended up winning it. So, sorry, can't help it. Tom Brady, number 3. Jeff.
All right.
Now, this is where I'm going to question you.
No, you're not. You're not. Who's
your number 2?
It's Aaron Donald.
Okay.
Because he's the face of that Rams defense. He's the best defensive tackle in the NFL. He's set, crazy records. And number 1, let me just say this. There's a reason why the Los Angeles Rams are always top among the league in QB pressures and QB hits. It's because of that man, number 99, coming after you. And he might have a down year because people are focused strictly on Aaron Donald, but he's consistent. You know what you get from him. You're gonna terrorize the quarterback, and you're gonna get domination, and that's what Aaron Donald is, and he's done that year in and year out. So deservingly so. He's the best defensive player in football, and you don't have him in your top 3. You're clueless.
Okay, good. So I'm glad we agree somewhere else, but he is not. No.
What?
Everything you said about Aaron Donald is spot on. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, what more needs to be said about Patrick Mahomes?
So who's your 1?
Back-to-back Super Bowl back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. A fantastic year last year. Super efficient with the ball. Didn't turn over the ball too much. 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. We all know who Patrick Mahomes is. Oh, and he happens to play with, as we agreed, the 5th best player in football, Travis Kelce. It's Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid, dynamic offense. He's not going anywhere. If he would have won the Super Bowl, I'd have him at 1. But again, this is your top players in the NFL. Top 5 players. So for me, I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes is number 2. I'm going to assume he's your number 1.
Yes, he is. Deservingly so. Because regardless if he just lost in the Super Bowl, he's the most talented quarterback in the NFL in terms of, you can talk about Tom and his ability to win, but Patrick's the best. He make plays with his feet if necessary. He can chuck it all around the field, and he's shown his football IQ is crazy impressive. He hasn't had double-digit assists since his 50 touchdown season. I mean, the guy's crazy impressive, and he's only getting better. Since his rookie year, he's won 10-plus games every single year. He's kept Kansas City in the conversation, and if they had an offensive line last year, I think they could have won that Super Bowl. So, if I don't know who you have at number 1, I'm very curious. If you say Derrick Henry, I'm going to come over there and slap you in the face. So here, I'll let you talk.
All right. Well, actually, my number 1 is actually somebody I voted for and I preached for all season to win Defensive Player of the Year, and it's actually Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is, in my opinion, the best player in the NFL. One of, if not the most dominant lineman in the last 20 to 30 years. Guys, he's entering his prime. He's only 6 years in. Already 85.5 sacks for an interior lineman. A lineman that faces 2 to 3 blockers on every play. 13.5 sacks last year. He is one of the most disrupting players in the NFL. I think the respect he was given last year, really, it's one of those things where the media darling TJ Watt should have won Defensive Player of the Year. But if you actually watched the games, Aaron Donald was clearly Defensive Player of the Year. And in my opinion, he is the best player in football. Yes, quarterback super important, but we're just talking at an individual level. Aaron Donald is the best player in football, and I could make an argument that it's by a wide margin. The way he changes the game. Guys, let's just backtrack last year to the Rams. They were not overwhelmingly successful on offense. Jared Goff struggled throughout the entire season. The run game, they couldn't find one until Cam Akers late into the season. They had no identity on offense, really. It was inconsistent. So what happens? Aaron Donald puts on his Superman cape, and that defense carries them the entire way. They were the number 1 scoring defense, number 1 rated defense, number 1 in points. Across the board, they were just the best. Aaron Donald is a big factor in that. And there's a reason they not only got to the playoffs, they won a playoff game. Not because Jared Goff came in and, oh my God, he won a playoff game. No. They won a playoff game because they had a good run game. Cam Akers went off that night. He kind of asserted himself as the number 1 moving forward. And Aaron Donald beat the living crap out of Russell Wilson that night. Aaron Donald, in my opinion, the best player in football and deserves to be there. Go ahead.
I would agree he's in the conversation. The only argument I'd have is when Aaron Donald succeeded 20 sacks in the NFL and he had that monster season, he was the best player in football. But you're telling me with this Rams defense, the addition of Jalen Ramsey, that Aaron Donald is the best player in football. I don't think there's a player like the quarterback position who can affect a football game. And I think Patrick Mahomes, he's the best player in football to me. That was my argument. But I can't say you're wrong for having Aaron Donald. My question would be, you said by a far, you could argue by a far
I could
margin.
argue it's a pretty wide margin. I could put I could put in Chad Henne, and I trust Andy Reid in that offense to win me 9-10 football games.
I disagree.
I think they win 9-10 football games without Patrick Mahomes. Now, are they as dynamic? Are they as great without Pat? No, obviously. You take out Aaron Donald, the Rams are a 6-5 win team.
Of course. It's like if you take off Patrick Mahomes, they're 5.
No, they're
6,
not.
They
can win. They can win
8,
9, 10 games with that offense.
Alex Smith took him to the playoffs. Chad Henne or any other
Chad
quarterback.
Henne damn near made the throw that got them into the AFC Championship game.
He also made a couple bonehead throws in there. But I'm just saying, Patrick Mahomes, his ability to limit your turnovers, take care of the... Even last year, when he was running for his life in that Super Bowl, had highlights. Like throws that weren't getting completed.
Guys, there's some comments in the chat like, Donald was a non-factor. Do you not understand what Aaron Donald goes through every game? There are 3 people waiting for him every snap. 2 linemen, a back, or 3 linemen. He was a non-factor. Great. Green Bay said, all right, this guy is too much of a problem. We got to get the ball out quick, which is why Jalen Ramsey wasn't effective on Devontae Adams. They got him in motion. They couldn't do anything to stop the Packers because the Packers showed up with a game plan. And Aaron Donald, you can say non-factor, but you know what? He was a factor in Seattle. He was a factor all season. And guys, 13.5 sacks for an interior lineman.
It's crazy.
An interior lineman that basically can do, I'm going to reference what Wasim said in the chat. He can basically do what Reggie White did on the edge and what Warren Sapp did on the interior. What kind of player? That is broken. That's what you do in Madden. You make a 6'2", 270-pound ripped interior defensive lineman, and you just get 30 sacks a season with the guy when you're playing because he's just too good. You make him 99 and everything. That's Aaron Donald. Again, given Patrick Mahomes' situation, I could make an argument that you take out both players from their teams, the Rams would suffer much, much more. Much, much more.
I just can't see that,
Jeff.
And I understand the argument because he's the face of that defense. I get that argument, but with Patrick Mahomes, you don't think the entire defense is focused on that dude the entire game, Patrick Mahomes? You don't think the secondary linebackers, they're concerned about this dude scoring on them every single time, considering he barely throws interceptions, he can make plays with his feet. But Aaron Donald, the only thing I would say is he's shown, and we're not talking about just this past season against the Packers, but he can be limited if you focus your game plan on Aaron Donald. You
so
can't stop.
So can any quarterback.
No.
Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes was limited in the Super Bowl because
he
got pressure.
was running around. Yes, he had no offensive line.
That's how you limit a quarterback. You get pressure on him.
Okay.
Tom Brady, go look at the 2 Super Bowls against the Giants. They got pressure on him, limited him, and one of the greatest offenses we've ever seen. You can limit any player if you execute your game plan.
I just think it's
when you throw up 3 linemen, there are teams throughout the season that try it, and they still can't stop Aaron Donald. I'm sorry. No. Aaron Donald has got to be the top-rated player. He earned that respect. I am so proud of every single NFL voter last year that voted him Defensive Player of the Year over the media darling T.J. Watt. He did not deserve to be Defensive Player of the Year. It's that simple. He deserved to be number 2. Congratulations. But he's no Aaron Donald.
Let me put it like this.
He's no Aaron Donald.
Let me put it like this, because this is even more like if you're a GM and you have the number 1 pick, you're taking Aaron Donald to start your franchise rather than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, wait, whoa. I'm sorry. No.
Okay, that's...
No, you always take a quarterback.
Okay.
That's a different conversation that we're having. We're talking the best player in the game right now.
Has the most effect on their football team.
The quarterback has the most effect on any team.
That's the argument I don't understand.
But Aaron Donald makes such a huge impact individually. My quarterback is only as good as his surroundings, too.
Yeah.
Again, Patrick Mahomes, he's surrounded by an amazing amount of talent, one of the greatest offensive minds in the game. Aaron Donald is sitting there bench pressing 300-pound linemen like it's candy every single day. Something's got to be said. Kennedy, your thoughts?
I'm actually kind of surprised because I didn't make an official list, but when I was thinking about it, I would have made an argument for Kittle and also McCaffrey. So I was kind of surprised that neither of you had either of them on their list. Do you have a specific reason
What
why?
was the other player, McCaffrey and who?
Kittle.
Kittle was injured all of last season. It's tough to put him there. I think his PFF ranking was what, around 60?
Yeah.
Or not his PFF, the top 100 players they came out with he was at 60.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy
so,
to me.
Well, he was injured last year, and
Right.
it was about last season.
That's true.
And you can get on me about Aaron Rodgers and not having him in the top 5. He was the MVP last year. Not in my book. Josh Allen was the MVP. Took that team to 13-3. I'm sorry. Okay, what did Aaron Rodgers do? He threw more touchdowns, threw the same amount of interceptions, but what changed? They were 13-3 the year prior. They were 13-3 again. They went to the NFC Championship. He choked. They went to another one. He choked. Nothing changed. You can give the regular season award to whoever you want. I'm just telling you who the most valuable players are in the league. In my opinion, the top 5. I gave them to you. I'll recap my list.
It was definitely his story too. Like they drafted a quarterback. He comes in. He's ticked off.
He's a
he has
baby.
a monster season.
He's a baby.
The
He's
media
sensitive.
loves
He's
that.
soft. That's why he only has one Super Bowl.
God.
It's a soft-ass quarterback.
Clearly, Adam, you don't have him in your top
He rode
5.
Clay Matthews in that defense and Charles Woodson's coattails to that Super Bowl. But regardless, Travis Kelce, number 5, we both agree. I have Josh Allen at 4. You have Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, we both agreed the GOAT,
Yep.
Tom Brady. Number 2,
We swapped them.
we swapped. You had Aaron Donald. I had Patrick Mahomes. And then I had Donald at 1. You had Mahomes at 1. Guys, thank you so much. That was fun, Kennedy.
I'm glad you guys kind of agreed so much.
Well,
Good job, you guys.
Honestly, we agreed with 2, but you know what?
I thought it was going to be way worse.
I'm
So-
surprised he put Aaron Rodgers in there. I'm gonna be honest. I'm
more surprised you don't have him in your top 5.
I was surprised you had Kelce in there. I was not expecting you to pull I think you looked at my notes.
No.
There was no way you put Kelce at 5 without looking at my
Your
notes.
I'm not looking at the notes where Donald's number 1. I can't look at those notes.
Well, look at them. It's the truth.
Oh my God.
Kennedy, what's next?
Given the situation, if you had to choose, which QB are you starting week 1, Adam?
Oh wow. Okay. I'll start. So the options are Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Mac Jones. Okay. Trevor Lawrence has already been named the starter, so there's nothing much there. Zach Wilson, the same, not part of this argument. So this one was very difficult for me. I'll tell you who I wouldn't start week 1. Justin Fields. I am not sending the guy I traded up for. I'm not sending him out to be eaten alive and mauled by the best player in football, Aaron Donald. I am starting Andy Dalton the first 3 to 6 weeks. If we're 3-3, hell, I'm bringing in Justin Fields and we'll try to make a playoff run. But if we're 1-5, I don't know. I'm not. I know for sure who I'm not taking, and that's Justin Fields. Now between Trey Lance and Mac Jones, you can make the argument week 1 you'd want to start Trey Lance. Why? Well, he's playing the Detroit Lions. Who wouldn't want to make their debut against the Detroit Lions?
He's not ready yet, though.
He's not ready. He's more raw, and that's why my answer will be Mac Jones. I think he can throw the ball better than Cam Newton. Cam Newton is a shell of himself ever since his MVP year in Carolina. Cam Newton's not the answer. I think of the three, if I was making the decision, I would move and start my season with Mac Jones. I could work around him. I'm deep at running back. I can run the ball. I like my rookie back. That's why I just traded Sony Michel. I got 2 tight ends, which means I got 2 blanket targets for my rookie quarterback. Mac Jones all day.
I got Justin Fields, and let me explain why.
Murderer.
Let me explain why.
You're a murderer.
I'm not saying he should start week 1, but I think he'll start
That's what the
sooner.
question is.
He'll start sooner than Mac Jones. I will say that. Right.
The question is, which one would you start week 1? You're going to send Justin Fields out to die. That's it.
Yes,
You're
because
responsible.
I'm the GM
You
of the
are
Bears.
such a responsible GM.
No, listen. This is because if I'm Matt Nagy and I'm on Ryan Pace, I'm on the hot seat. Bill Belichick ain't going nowhere. Those guys are fine. They have no pressure on them. Get Cam Newton in there. He has a good game 1. He's going to stay as a starter. He's not going to... Andy Dalton. If you're telling me Andy Dalton's going to come out there week 1 and light it up, you're wrong. I think Justin Fields...
He's not, and neither is Justin Fields against the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to get mauled, beaten down, and their hearts are going to get broken.
Week 2 or week 3. He's not going to... I think Andy Dalton will be out in the next 3 weeks.
That's fine, but week 1 of the 3, which one
Cam
would you
Newton's
start?
going to last at least a quarter of the season. He's not going to... I could see both of these guys have stretches of bad football. Like, you can't argue one or the other. But Cam Newton... I trust Cam Newton more than Andy Dalton, at least.
This is like buying a Lamborghini, all right? You took an advance out from work. You've been saving money. You trade up. You buy your Lamborghini. Justin Fields. You bought it. And for some reason, instead of waiting 3 weeks for it to ship from Michigan to California, no. You're going to drive it from Michigan to California. And you're going to deal with the potholes. And you're going to deal with the shitty roads. And you're going to deal with shitty drivers. That's what you're doing to Justin Fields. You're throwing him out to be murdered. What kind of GM are you? I'm putting out Mac Jones. I have probably one of the most talented offensive lines. I have the best offensive line so far this preseason. From what I've seen, the Patriots have had the best offensive line. I have 2 blanket tight ends that I can throw to, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. I've got a run game I can rely on, and that fits so well into what Bill Belichick will be asking of his quarterback. It's not going to be Cam Newton. Cam Newton may be a goal line option, but week 1, I'm going with Mac Jones. I'm not putting out Justin Fields to die. Trey Lance, it's too early. I need Jimmy G to get me through 10 games, and I need to be 6-4, and I can make the move to just whatever, Jimmy. We're done. We're done. Trey, come in and try to take us somewhere special, because I don't think Jimmy G is going to take him anywhere near back to a Super Bowl appearance. But he needs to buy them time, and that's something very important for San Francisco.
Okay, but when you guys are thinking about this week 1, are you thinking about which team they're playing?
Yes.
That's what Adam's thinking about.
Okay,
Yes.
because that's what I would be thinking, and that's why I would go with Trey Lance. What? I mean, hello?
You got to understand.
Look who they're playing.
Justin Fields and
It's
Mac
not
Jones
scary.
are the 2 guys that are ready to play right now. So, like, my argument with Justin Fields is, like, why... The Bears want to compete. Why are you stringing Andy Dalton along if he's a worse quarterback than Justin?
Because
We've seen it in the
you're
preseason.
protecting your quarterback. Okay, let me give you some backstory to answer your question. Matt Nagy, head coach of the Chicago Bears, correct?
Hot seat, yes.
Regardless. You know where Matt Nagy was when Patrick Mahomes was a rookie?
Yes, I understand.
He was in Kansas City. He watched them sit. The word throughout camp, from preseason
But he's a Trey Lance
to the end of the
comparison. Wasn't
postseason.
ready.
Wait for it.
Justin's ready.
Justin is not ready.
He is.
He's not ready to go out week 1 and get mauled.
I get that. If you're okay, Adam, if you're a GM, you're like, I don't want him to get hurt. I get it. He's ready.
No, it's
he's
not
ready.
about hurt.
He's
you don't
ready.
put him out against NFC Championship contenders week 1 when
Okay.
you know you're not a contending team. Put out Andy Dalton. Give Justin Fields time to understand and learn the playbook, the same way they did for Mahomes, and the same way Kyle Shanahan is praying Jimmy G just plays good football so he doesn't have to throw Trey Lance out there. Trey Lance's completion percentage is sub 60. It's like 56, 54%, something like that. He's not ready yet. And Kyle Shanahan's playbook, not easy to understand. Trey Lance needs time. Fields needs time. You know who doesn't need time? Mac Jones. Mac Jones can come in week 1 and do the similar job, if not better job, than Cam Newton.
And I think Justin Fields can come in week 1 do a better job than Andy Dalton. It's clear. It's clear.
No,
and if you
he
look
needs
at
time.
listen, Cam Newton, you're telling me that man's going to get shut out week 1, week 2 of the season. Like that, you have more faith in Andy Dalton holding up.
No,
than
it's not
Cam
about
Newton.
faith. I think Justin Fields should be the starting quarterback. I'm not going to send him out to die.
Okay, well then we're arguing.
I need to protect my quarterback.
We're arguing different things.
No,
then.
we're
Like,
not.
Because
It's all right. Here, I'm going to read this
Listen.
again. If given the situation, if you had to choose, which quarterback of the 3 would you start your week 1? Trey Lance against the Niners, Mac Jones against the Dolphins at home, or are you going to take? I believe the Bears are away to Los Angeles. That is how Justin Fields is going to make his debut. Did you see what the hell happened to him in the second preseason game? You see the hit he got? Imagine Aaron Donald delivering that hit.
it's going to happen.
Justin Fields would be 6 feet under. I'm trying to protect my company, my franchise. And I'm sending Andy Dalton out to die. I'll be very simple. I'll come out, if I'm the GM, I'll come out and say, listen, Andy Dalton, his sacrifice this year might get him a statue in Chicago if Justin Fields works out. If Andy Dalton goes out there and he performs subpar, I could care less. I'm protecting my quarterback. He needs to understand my system so that the moment I bring him in, he'll be a success, just like they did in Kansas City. Andy Reid could have pulled the plug so early on Alex Smith. They were a 10-6, 11-5 football team. They weren't going anywhere. And they needed that next level, that next step, which only Patrick Mahomes could provide. And he still held off, knowing that to the future benefit of this kid's career, I'm going to sit him the entire year. We'll play him the last 2 or 3 games just to get him some reps, late in the games. And that's it. Because I know year 2, this guy's going to explode. That's my mindset with Justin Fields. Mac Jones, I think he could play right away, given the situation. Trey Lance, he needs a year too. Justin Fields and Trey Lance each need a year to sit down, shut the hell up, and learn everything. That's simple.
Okay.
He got nothing for it.
guys
Because I'm
done?
just right.
All right.
I'm just right, Kennedy. I can't help
I
it.
guess. Why the 49ers
Matt
are
Nagy
playing the
can,
Lions?
okay, again, like these comments. Matt Nagy can allow Justin Fields to sit for the year. Yes, his job is on the line, but you know what bought him time? The GM and the head coach sat down and said, this is our guy. They went to the ownership. This is our guy. Here's what we're willing to do to trade up and get him. Watch. Justin Fields' first preseason game bought Matt Nagy the year. His preseason performance against Miami bought Matt Nagy another year. It's that simple. Now, do I think Dalton's going to play all 17 games? No. I think he probably starts the first 6 or 7. And it's just that bad. They're like 2-5, and they're like, all right, let's get Justin Fields some reps. I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with him starting the first half of the year. I'm not. He needs to come in the second half of the year, get his reps, and get ready for next year. And then we can judge this entire move. Trey Lance, very similar. He can come on late in the year if they're just a bad team. But again, Jimmy G is 26-8 as a starter. That's a good win-loss record. If he can just play anything like himself prior, San Francisco will be a 9-10 win football team. And Trey Lance can chill the year, come onto the scene next year, and hopefully be a very good quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Mac Jones, on the other hand, doesn't need a year. He doesn't. Josh McDaniels will take care of him. He'll protect him. He'll put him in situations to win. That's what that coaching staff does. It's not an argument. Sorry, Kennedy.
Anything, Jeff?
No. There's no argument.
know.
I guess,
I know.
like Adam said, there's no argument.
I know.
So
All
just
right.
move on.
I know. It's really hard to sit up here every day and for me to do my job and just be right all the time. Like sometimes I
Oh,
just go
my.
home and I'm like, God, I was so right today. Like what am I going to do tomorrow? You got to be even more right.
It's just the specifics. Like, obviously, I'm not going to sit here as a GM and say throw Fields to the Wolves with the Rams, but, like, that's the only part you got me on. Like, yeah, I don't want him to go against the Rams, but I still think Cam Newton will last longer than Andy Dalton, so that's my argument.
Look,
So,
Andy
go on.
Dalton is what Jared Goff is, except the Lions don't have a backup solution.
Right.
The Lions will be drafting a quarterback in the next year or two. That's what Andy Dalton is for Justin Fields right now. They're sending Andy Dalton out there not to make himself good. No.
But it's his
nothing
time,
other
he
than to
said.
sit Justin Fields, give him time to understand the playbook, get familiar with the scheme, and ideally come out later in the year or next year. And he's a very good quarterback for the Chicago Bears. You got to protect your asset. Quarterback's your whole franchise. You throw him out there too early, he's done. He's done. The Bears traded up for Justin Fields. They're going to take every precaution possible. You know why? Because their job is on the line if Fields doesn't work out, not if they only win 6-7 games this year.
Pro Football Focus. They have not been kind to the Lions, except for our offensive line. They did give our offensive line a decent grade. But when it comes to our wide receivers, we are rated the lowest in the entire NFL.
And I agree.
No, it's not a surprise to me. I mean,
It is no surprise.
This wide receiver core, we'll start with this. TJ Hockenson and Quintez Cephas are the only returning wide receivers this year. So a lot of guys that are improving. You don't know, a whole lot about, except for what Tyrell Williams did when he was with the Raiders and other teams. But a lot of guys that are improving. So I get where they're coming from. I looked and saw St. Brown and Cephas are all in the 3 spot. They have Tyrell and Perriman ranked the best on our team in Pro Football Focus. So those two, they think, will have the most impact. But like I said, they don't know about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, he could come and have immediate impact. A lot of guys are just unproven, so I can kind of see the rating.
I mean, we're looking at 20 receptions and 350 yards as our best receiver right now last season. It's not really telling. I mean, we haven't done anything right now to have proven ourselves. So with us being last place on the wide receiver core, I couldn't agree more.
I disagree.
Name one person besides Hockenson.
Well, that's the thing.
And we're talking wide receivers.
Tyrell Williams is better than a lot of number ones. Like, you go look at the Jets. The Jets don't have anybody. And I'm not saying we're the best in the league. I'm just saying we're not the worst in the league. So to put us at the very, very bottom with a core that you really haven't seen play together, I think it's more unfamiliarity than actual they don't think these guys are good. I mean, they've never played together. We all know that. But, you hear like Herman Moore yesterday talking about Amon-Ra and how he could be a great slot wide receiver.
Could be.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't seen it. So we're going off of potential.
Exactly. That's what they're essentially ranking is the potential of these wide receiver cores moving forward. I mean, I look at Houston's wide receiver core. They ain't got anything.
I will agree with that. They should be below us. But a lot of teams, especially in the NFL, they have one good receiver at least. I mean, the Chargers, Keenan Allen. I mean, you can go now with the Atlanta Falcons. They just traded Julio Jones. They still have
Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley.
Right. Like every team has this one guy. The Lions don't have. And we have T.J. Hockenson, but in the wide receiver core, we don't have that dude. I mean, we had Galladay. He was injured last year, but even the Giants now they have Galladay as their guy. I mean, we don't really have
but
that.
He's injured
dude.
again.
True. True. He is injured again.
As a receiving team, I would rank us different. But as a receiving core, I agree with us being one of the worst teams.
Well, Corey was able to catch up with Brashard Perriman yesterday and talk about how he feels about the Lions' potential at the wide receiver core, and this is what he had to say.
I was talking to Herman a couple moments ago, and he was saying that you were one of the guys that he's paying attention to out there on the field, and he's looking forward to seeing improve and get acclimated offense. How does it mean to you that one of your father's former teammates is looking at you, speaking of you that highly?
Man, it's huge, man. It's really unreal. Everybody know about Herman Moore, about the league. So to kind of get him, basically, looking out for me, it's crazy, and it just means everything to me, because he a baller, he's one of my pops, so it's just crazy.
What do you think is the potential of this Lions offense right now? With Jared Goff out there, you being a big part of the offense, what do you think is the potential like for the guys moving forward?
I think we can be very electric. I think when it's all said and done, we're gonna be able to do a lot of different things, and I feel like it's gonna be a lot of big plays coming from the offensive side. So I'm really excited.
So he's excited. I mean, but what else is he supposed to say? Yeah,
Right.
I think we suck. We're not going to be good this year. So take that with a grain of salt. But at the same time, I feel these guys are being vastly underestimated.
And I can see the part where he said electric, because there's going to be times with this team. I mean, they're going to play well some games, but I like how he didn't say we're going to dominate or anything. I mean, he's a realist. I mean, Perriman's never been on a main part of a core. I mean, he was with the Jets and he played pretty well, but other than that, this is his most opportunity he's going to get this year with us. I mean, especially you can look at Tyrell Williams too. These guys, if they're going to have a good year, it's going to be this year with the Lions.
Especially when you look at that number one, it could be anybody on our team right now. So yes, we got pretty good players when you look statistically in the past, but as far as who our set receiving core is, we don't even know that right now.
Yeah, but I'm just looking around the league and thinking in my head, like, the Baltimore Ravens, they don't have a great wide receiver core. That's another team that you could rank below us. I mean,
they got Sammy Watkins now, I think. Now they have Rashad Bateman. He's all right.
Bateman's already hurt.
They have Hollywood Brown. They had in the draft. So they have it's better than us. Not a very talented one, but I would take them over Tyrell, Quintez Cephas, and Perriman. You know what I mean?
You would?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those three I would take. Watkins is a baller. You watched him on Kansas City. And Bateman, he's a rookie, but he's talented. And then they have Hollywood Brown, who he's not the best, but I would take him over Perriman. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, also a rookie you got to watch out for in Baltimore this year is Tylan Wallace.
True.
And he's been having a great training camp from my understanding. And, Rashad Bateman's already injured. A couple of their wide receivers are already injured. So he's been getting a lot of reps. But, yeah, I look at the Jets. I look at them. I look at Houston. And then I look at it. And it's just like, we're comparable. But I don't think we're dead last in the league.
Yeah, dead last is a little disrespectful.
It is. But, we'll see
We're
how the
dead
season
last there. We're dead last with the record. We're dead last in the quarterback. Come on, bring it all. It's like LeBron James said, you will see.
I was just going to say, keep that same energy throughout the whole season, everybody.
We should send that. We should send that as a message to pro football. I'm going to say, keep talking about my squad, my personnel skills, and just go off on them.
We should mock that tweet with Woodward Sports today. Like, keep talking about our team, how they have no talent, how they can't catch passes.
Got to. We're doing that right after the show.
I love it.
Our idea.
I want to add this in, too, because a lot of the wide receiver cores we're ranking, it has to do with the quarterback. Like Baltimore, we just said their wide receiver core is talented, but Lamar Jackson, we still got to watch him throw the ball more. So Jared Goff, I believe, will get the job done with these guys. I mean, you saw him in L.A., and he had serviceable, what would they rank the Rams wide receiver core last year? Like, they had Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, but they didn't have no tight end. They had really not a lot. I mean, they relied on their run game. So it has to do with the quarterbacks. I think Jared will get these guys going to where they're not dead last. I think other teams, the statistics will come out throughout the season. They'll find out.
Yeah. I'm looking for it. It's not disrespectful. It's your reality, Adam. Lions deserve to be 32nd. No, they don't, man. Look around the league. That's all I'm saying. I'm talking I'm not saying we're going to be 20th. I'm saying 28th.
Who cares? You're going to have an argument over that?
Yeah.
I want 28th.
Anytime somebody puts you at dead last, that is complete disrespect.
No, it ain't. When you suck as an organization and a football team, it is well deserved.
Hey, I will add this. It's a great point Terry always makes. Lions fans feel entitled a little bit. We feel disrespected when really there's no respect to begin with because we're dead last in most things. So
it's because Dan Campbell and this squad got us feeling better. That's the only reason why we think we should be higher than 32nd.
True.
Well, I definitely think we should, and we'll find out too. That's the best part. I love this because with Pro Fantasy or Pro Football Focus, like by the end of the season, we'll be able to go back and fact check and see how good these guys actually are.
Yep,
right.
Because obviously they break down the numbers and all that good stuff. And I wonder what their criteria was for this specific thing. Because if you are going off like last season's stats, we don't have guys that put up. But you look at like a Tyrell Williams when he was a number one in Oakland, or they were still in
and
LA
with the Chargers,
at the time.
San Diego,
and with
that.
the Chargers, he was putting up numbers. Yeah. He's a 6'4" guy. He can run like the wind. He can catch the ball. He can go up and get it. So I think there's a little bit of just maybe they look at him as past his prime, but I look at Sammy Watkins as past his prime.
True.
So, Pro Football Focus, thank you very much for giving us locker room material. Hopefully the wide receivers post that up in their room and look at it constantly.
Screw you, PFF.
Right, just like the headline above, PFFU.